Chronicles of the Stellar Mecha War. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 676 fully upgraded. The day of the upgrade was sunny and cloudless, a good day. In order to prevent a series of changes and problems caused by this upgrade, the venue was set up outdoors, at a large shooting range. Lin Fan got off the armored vehicle, surrounded by only yellow sand. Even though her eyesight was far superior to that of ordinary people, she could not see anything other than the yellow earth. Oh, and the various armored vehicles they came with. There was no grass growing on the yellow earth. If she was left here alone, she would probably think it was some uninhabited area. After the armored vehicle dropped her off, it drove away and retreated a few hundred meters away to join the main force. There were various equipment vehicles, medical vehicles, and armed and mecha equipment vehicles over there. The bionic armor with a heavy shell was starting up. Except for Song Ren, the other 9 drivers were all on standby. Although Kine Leo's bracelet ensured that Lin Fan would not lose his mind, 800 still made a worst case plan. It is better to be more prepared than to be caught off guard. To be honest, if I really lose control, the bionic armor can't stop me, Lin Fan said as he looked at the distance, and the bionic armor stood up one by one and moved in front of the armored vehicle. That's not to stop you, Jin Sichin replied in the control car. It's to help the convoy evacuate just in case. Who can stop you? He and Wu Yusen have been on Lin Fan's line to prevent the first situation from happening. They are familiar with people who can speak out in time to wake him up. Apollo. Lin Fan touched his chin. If you really want to stop me, I guess you have to let Apollo go. Do you think the higher-ups haven't thought about it? Jin Sichin said unhappily. You tell me. Then, Wu Yusen's voice rang out. I really considered this plan, but considering that Apollo's position and motives are not stable, if he turns against you and kills you, that would be even worse. Lin Fan thought so too. If there is anyone on Langsing who can still pose a fatal threat to her, it is Apollo. What if he makes a mistake, whether intentionally or unintentionally, and she is gone with a snap? She has worked hard to live for so long, and finally has some taste, so don't do it. I wasn't nervous at first, but you guys made me feel like something was really going to happen. Lin Fan saw the bionic armors standing in a row in front of the armored vehicles, forming a fence. But in her opinion, they were all loopholes. Don't be nervous, it's all because of the 800 people. Jin Sichin spoke again. The 800 people on the armored vehicles looked at him when they heard the voice, and he said without any burden, "What are you looking at? Haven't you seen comforting people before?" Everyone turned their heads back again. They knew he was comforting people, but they still felt a little aggrieved. Don't worry, it's not a big problem, Wu Yusen said again. You are now well integrated with Xingqian. You didn't suffer from dementia during the previous upgrades, and you will definitely not suffer from dementia this time. We also tried to inquire about Antonio's side, and he didn't suffer from dementia at all. Just keep a normal mind, do what you need to do, it will be over soon. Wu Yusen said all good things, and naturally he didn't tell her that all the people who came had read the risk confirmation letter and signed the life and death agreement. And Antonio was also on standby nearby. If the situation really gets out of control, Apollo will arrive soon. Antonio didn't know about this situation yet. He was sent to the nearby area by OV, and OV was deceived and guided by the higher-ups to issue this mission. The higher-ups also attached great importance to the upgrade of Xingqian this time. Maybe the more important it is, the more worried it is, so they prepared everything they could think of. The best thing is, of course, to get through it peacefully. If there is an emergency, the first plan must be to protect Lin Fan. But if the lethality is too great and he can't be saved, Lin Fan didn't know about the private arrangements. She only saw these armored vehicles as a participant in this operation. As the arrangements were completed, the control vehicle confirmed the process with her again, and finally everything returned to silence. She stood alone in the middle of the open space, with only the sound of the wind and the propeller of the unmanned camera in her ears. It was still quite cold in February, especially in such an open space. Lin Fan took the box containing 818 out of her pocket and took off her long down jacket and folded it. There was really no clean place, so she could only put it far away. The combat suit has a certain heat preservation effect, but her hands quickly became cold. She returned to her original place and carefully opened the box. The small black 818 no longer had the inexplicable attraction it had when it was first seen. "I'm starting," she said solemnly. Everyone on the armored vehicle side stood up straight, staring at the synchronized screen, tense. The driver's feet were on the accelerator to ensure that once the order was given, they would rush out at the first time. Holding the 818 in her hand, Lin Fan's expected passive transformation did not appear. She blinked and blinked again until the 818 in her hand was no longer so cold. Nothing happened. Could it be that it has expired after a long time? Zhang Zhaoji frowned and muttered. The big screen of 623 was also broadcasting this action live. Those who could not go to the scene were also watching it simultaneously. Ke Wenbin slapped the back of his head in annoyance. "This is material. It's expired." At the same time, the old man of Sajiacheng was also watching the live broadcast. Shen Bei stood behind his office chair, looking at Lin Fan standing alone on the barren sand, and he was completely stunned. The old man leaned forward, resting his arms on the desk, frowning slightly. What went wrong? Jin Sichin frowned even tighter, enough to kill a fly. He didn't dare to disturb Lin Fan, so he turned off the call and asked the people in the car. "I don't know." The first and second records were recorded by touching directly. The technician in the car quickly checked the information, but later he was injured, and it was absorbed by blood. Could it be? Could the absorption method have changed? It needs blood to be effective? Lin Fan also thought of this possibility, but she didn't bring any sharp objects, so there was no way to make a wound. "You said like on TV, biting a finger." "Sorry, her teeth can't do it yet. 818 is getting warmer and colder." Lin Fan began to get a little irritated, threw the box in his other hand, and changed hands to hold it. But after holding it for a while, nothing happened. Otherwise, should we ask them to send something to scratch it? Well, it's better to scratch it before leaving. She's afraid she can't do it. Thinking of this, Lin Fan said it into the headset. His hands were so cold that they felt like they were going to freeze, so he rubbed them quickly. But before he could finish his words, he just put his palms together and held 818 in the middle, and his eyes blurred, and his vision became higher. Wu Yusen was about to go forward to help, but Lin Fan suddenly changed. The wind suddenly blew on the flat ground, wrapping the stars in it. The drone would shake violently whenever it got close. Everyone stared at the screen, and in the white whirlwind visible to the naked eye, they didn't know if the stars had changed. Lin Fan. Lin Fan. How are you? Wu Yusen didn't care about the instructions and spoke anxiously. "I'm fine." Lin Fan's voice was steady and clear. "Don't worry." Everyone's heart was slightly relieved at this time. "A circle of small tornadoes has formed around you. Do you know what's going on?" Yu Guangli asked at 623. "Small tornadoes?" Lin Fan reacted for a moment before she remembered that she was talking about the wind, but I didn't see it. As soon as the voice fell, the wind disappeared, revealing the stars inside 818 had disappeared. But from the appearance of this upgrade, it seemed that there was no difference. There was also the wind that they could see before, but Lin Fan couldn't see. But no matter what, the process was safe and there were no accidents, which was already good news. "Quickly take a look. Is there any change?" Yu Guangli urged again. Lin Fan turned his palms over and moved his limbs, and it seemed that there was no difference from before. He ran quickly and even flew into the sky for a circle, but he didn't feel any obvious difference. The same was true for the spear, and the power was still there. Oh, yes, the shoulder cannon. Lin Fan didn't know how Apollo was activated. She pondered on it for a long time and decided to move with her heart. As a result, the towering outer armor on her shoulders really opened. Before she could be happy, she saw that all the armored vehicles in front were moving at a high speed. Quick, quick, quick. Change direction. Don't point the muzzle at us. Chapter 677 Extra Surprise. Everyone has seen how powerful Apollo's shoulder gun is. A few shots can shoot down Gro's small spaceship. Xingqian has just upgraded and is not very good at controlling the firing of the shoulder gun. What if it accidentally fires? Their death is too worthless. Lin Fan heard a panic in the headset and quickly turned the direction. The armored vehicle then turned around and came back. It was scary, wasn't it? Lin Fan, before you can control it freely, remember not to point the muzzle at your own people. Wu Yusen reminded in a deep voice. This is actually basic common sense for entering the military department, but Lin Fan is not a member of the military department, so it is normal that he doesn't have this awareness. Got it? Lin Fan also felt a little scared. She really has no experience in mind control. I will pay attention next time. The drones quickly surrounded Xingqian again, up and down, left and right. Unlike Apollo's rectangular muzzle, the green round muzzle on Xingqian's shoulder armor is a flat and long diamond, and the size is not the same. The 3 horizontal circles are larger, and the smaller spheres on the top and bottom form the top of the diamond. 5 on one side, more than the 4 on one side of Apollo. In front of the 623 screen, the researchers did not expect that Xingqian's shoulder cannons would be like this, and they were a little speechless for a while. This? Zhang Zhaoji hesitated and said, there are big and small ones. Does it mean that the firepower is different? That's possible. Yu Guangli nodded. How do you feel, Lin Fan? Are you uncomfortable? Nothing special. I'm quite excited. Lin Fan's voice sounded happy. She had coveted Apollo's shoulder cannon before, and this time it's good. She also has one. Then feel it again, and see if there are any other changes. Yu Guangli ordered. Lin Fan wondered if the energy was no longer like before, always consumed so quickly, and needed to eat a lot to replenish it. But now is obviously not a good time to test, so she had to check herself again. Xingqian's body, she was already very familiar with it. Most of the parts were covered with sharp external wraps, and she couldn't see what it was. There is a cannon in the towering shoulder armor, and a weapon in the wide arm armor. Lin Fan lowered her head and looked at the equally high bulge of the breastplate. Could there be a secret hidden in it? She narrowed her eyes and tried to open the breastplate. After a good try, she finally lifted a horizontal structure protecting her chest to below her collarbone. Come on, let's see what it is. Lin Fan wanted to turn around, but she quickly reacted and waved to the drone to get closer. The exposed part was below the front of the breastplate, and it was invisible from Xingqian's angle. The drone bust and flew to the front of Xingqian, facing her chest. Everyone in front of the screen was speechless when they saw the huge round muzzle. If the muzzle on the shoulder armor had surprised them, the muzzle on the chest that took up half of Xingqian's head was really a pleasant surprise. The dark green round hole was like a gem inlaid on the Mecha, emitting a dim light facing the camera. At such a close distance, although it was not launched, everyone still felt a tingling in their spines. Is this a cannon? Jin Sichin murmured. Compared with the muzzle on the chest, the cannon on the shoulder armor seemed to have become a child's plaything. Wu Yusen pursed his lips, swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said nothing. Does Apollo also have such a chest cannon? The old man took off his glasses, covered his eyes with one hand, and leaned back in the chair. I don't know. I haven't seen it before, and the P side has no information. Shen Bei told the truth, but looking at the appearance and capacity of the Mecha, the possibility of having a chest cannon is very high. Apollo's chest armor also bulged very high. Before, everyone thought that this kind of towering armor was a feature of biological armor. Thicker weapons can better protect muscles and internal organs. But whether it is Apollo's shoulder cannon or Xingqian's chest cannon, they are constantly refreshing their ignorance. They know too little about unknown high technology. How is the progress of the world tree technology cracking? The old man asked again. If you can't beat them, join them. There are wolves in front and tigers behind, and the rapid development of high technology is their way of survival. The chief secretary at the side flipped through the progress and replied. It's progressing steadily, but it's still not ideal. The Special Affairs Office seems to be thinking of a new way, trying to start with the ugly woman and let her take the initiative to crack it. The old man nodded, said nothing more, and turned his eyes to the screen again. Yu Guangli has already started to prepare Xingqian for test firing. The power of the artillery fire must be tested to know. This is why today's upgrade was arranged in this wasteland. This was originally a test firing range for heavy weapons. Lin Fan was also shocked when she knew that there was a big muzzle on her chest. She was more surprised than happy. She knew that all of Xingqian's activities required energy, and these cannons naturally required energy to fire. The larger the muzzle, the more powerful it is, but it also requires more energy. Moreover, this muzzle is on the chest, and is hidden secretly. After thinking about it, it should be the kind of fatal blow that cannot be used easily. But, it is definitely better to have it than not. Put your mood in order and honestly follow the instructions. To start the first round of test firing, try the small one first, then the big one. First burst fire, then volley fire. Lin Fan felt like a puppet, listening to a command, and firing a shot. At the beginning, she didn't feel anything, she just saw the smoke and dust filling the distant landing point. But when firing in salvos, especially the salvos from both shoulders, she felt obvious recoil. Unprepared, her upper body seemed to be pushed back by a force. Fortunately, she reacted quickly and quickly pulled one leg back to offset the force. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing for such a big mecha to fall on its butt. When firing in salvos again, she deliberately stabilized her lower body and tightened her core, and it really felt much better. In the 623 control room, the shoulder gun data has been basically collected. The firepower of the small shoulder gun is equivalent to the most powerful intercontinental missile, and the power of the large shoulder gun is as high as 4 times. Not to mention the salvo, it is equivalent to a firepower group. Because it does not use gunpowder and metal, and relies entirely on energy to launch, Xingqian's shoulder gun can be regarded as green and environmentally friendly with great power. It can also be fired continuously without reloading time. Previously, it was said that Pangu was a walking artillery platform. Now, compared with Xingqian, Pangu is just a big fool, being pressed to the ground and rubbed. But there are also disadvantages. The range is not far enough. Intercontinental missiles can be fired at a fixed point at a long distance. Even if it is separated by half of Langsing, as long as the program is set, it can still hit wherever it is pointed. But the farthest distance of Xingqian's artillery is the edge of her field of vision. Beyond the field of vision, she can't hit the place she can't see. It's said that it's not far enough, but most of the time, it is definitely enough to face the enemy head on. What's more, Xingqian is fast. It can fly and shoot at the same time. The continuous strikes can form a fire barrier, which is a level that ordinary weapons can't do at all. The power of the shoulder gun is already great enough, and the chest gun was not dared to be tried at all. After Yu Guangli got the data of the shoulder gun, he continued to test the bottom line of the number of firings. Lin Fan felt tired, and then began to be exhausted. Finally, her eyes rolled back and she fainted. This time she was really exhausted, she thought. But it was all worth it. Chapter 678, How to Motivate Song Ren. After waking up from exhaustion, Lin Fan felt the pain of being drained of her body. She ate and drank like a person who had been hungry for months, without caring about her image. The doctor had examined her, and found nothing wrong, just lacking energy. Yu Guangli was also criticized by Zibisheng, saying that he was too eager for quick success. Fortunately, Lin Fan did not get into trouble this time. If she did, where would they go to regret? Yu Guangli was criticized in front of the entire 800, admitted his mistakes, was punished to write a self-criticism, and even his salary and bonus for half a year of performance appraisal were all fined. Lin Fan, who was lying on the bed, knew everything and felt that team leader Yu was a little wronged. In fact, they just knew Yu wouldn't die, so they didn't care. Jin Sichin sat on the chair next to the bed, with his arms around his chest, crossed his legs, and said something sarcastic. People who do scientific research have been dealing with mechanical numbers for a long time, and it's always easy to forget human nature. In fact, team leader Yu, Lin Fan wanted to defend himself, but found that he couldn't find any excuses, so he just gave up, and buried his head in his own food. Eat, eat, don't worry about them, those who made mistakes must be punished. Wu Yusen had no sympathy for Guangli's experience. He wanted to stop it at the time, but he was not in charge, and people's words were light, so it was useless to say anything. God knows how he felt when he saw Xingqian fall heavily. the strongest woman in the world, did not fall on the battlefield, but fell in the test of 800. The good impression of 800, which had risen because of the new Mecha, fell to the bottom again. The director was right. These guys are not good people. He has to protect Lin Fan well. During the time in the ward, almost everyone close to her came to see her. Zibishan personally brought Yu Guangli to apologize and said that he would never make the same mistake again. Lin Fan was not as angry as the others. Besides, he had been punished, so there was no point in being petty, so he just let it go. Zhang Zhaoji and Ke Wenbin were embarrassed when they came, but Lin Fan knew it had nothing to do with them. Dr. Zhu and Wu Yi, as her attending doctor and nurse, naturally came every day. Kuangli also took the opportunity to deliver the report and came to see. Even Ziqing, who had not been seen for a long time, showed up. He was still holding a thin laptop and came in a hurry and left in a hurry. Li Chunhua and the other two were the first to bear the brunt, especially Li Chunhua. If Wu Yusen and Jin Sichin had not used both soft and hard methods to drive him away, he could have stayed in the ward and waited for Lin Fan to wake up. Don't tell Song Ren about this. Lin Fan was naturally happy to see Li Chunhua. It's comfortable to interact with people with simple minds without having to think too much. Li Chunhua looked strange after hearing this, and Lin Fan understood without thinking too much. Why? You already told it? Yeah. Li Chunhua replied guiltily. I told the boss when I left your place last time. Isn't this on the way? What a hell of a way. The two wards were separated by several floors. Lin Fan was speechless, but Li Chunhua was like this, and she knew it for a long time, so she naturally couldn't say a word of blame. Forget it, just know it now. I was thinking not to make him worry. Lin Fan sighed. Little Li, you better be more careful. Your boss is in a much more serious condition than me now. Don't let him worry about other things. Song Ren's current state is obviously a cold treatment. His mind is full of his own physical condition, and it is good enough that he does not vent his anger. That really won't work. Ji arrived before he came and soon walked in with Gao Fei. I found that after Brother Li told you about your fainting, Captain Song reacted. This was said as if Song Ren was a vegetable. Although Lin Fan was complaining in his heart, he still asked quickly, what reaction? I was quite excited. Li Chunhua interrupted. It seemed that he had no interest in anything before, like a dead person, and then suddenly, hey, he came back to life. Lin Fan no longer wanted to complain about their metaphors. If she were Song Ren, she would probably be angry to death after hearing this. I feel that Captain Song is very concerned about Sister Lin's situation. He's originally depressed, began to struggle again after knowing that Sister Lin was in danger. Gao Fei's analysis was well reasoned. This was the result of his discussion with Jiu on the way. This is still a positive effect. Lin Fan never thought that his fainting could actually arouse Song Ren's will. Then how about you talk more and make me look miserable? Maybe he will get excited and stand up. You are talking nonsense. Jin Sichin covered his face with one hand. You have watched too many TV dramas, right? Song Ren's nerves are damaged, not psychologically disabled, and unable to act. I understand. I understand. Lin Fan smiled guiltily. Isn't it said that it will work? Then just use this method to motivate him. Aren't you afraid that you will stimulate him too much and make him give up? Jin Sichin saw Lin Fan coming up with bad ideas and Li Chunhua seemed to believe them and was ready to execute them. He felt that Song Ren was also very pitiful. Then what should we do? Lin Fan's eyes widened. Mental health affects physical health. I know that. The recovery process is slow to begin with. I don't want him to suffer that kind of mental pain. As she spoke, she became depressed and looked a little discouraged, as if she was thinking of her past. Wu Yusen couldn't bear to see Lin Fan sad, so he pushed Jin Sichin and said, hey, it's your turn. Jin Sichin was pushed to the side by him, and he was saved by propping up his legs on the ground in time. Just when she was about to turn around and scold Wu Yusen, she saw him smiling at her sincerely, grinning with his big white teeth. Dr. Jin, I know you can do it. Dr. Jin, I know you can do it. Lin Fan quickly followed, holding her hands together and making a begging gesture. Dr. Jin. The other three also quickly joined in. They also knew how powerful Jin Sichin was. It's not too much to say good things, especially if it's just words. Jin Sichin raised his hand to stop the three from continuing. That's it. Lee Chun-ho hugged Ji Yu and cheered. Let's make it clear first, I'm doing this for Lin Fan's sake. Jin Sichin stood up and glanced at Wu Yusen proudly. This guy is worthy of being the chief special agent. When he plays tricks, it's really hard to refuse. Song Ren, after all, has worked together for so long, and Jin Sichin has a good impression of him. He originally didn't intend to stand idly by. It just so happened that Lin Fan's promotion was basically settled, and he should go to see his situation. But don't let them know about this plan. With Jin Sichin helping Song Ren adjust his mental state, Lin Fan was not so worried. She was just exhausted this time, and after a few days of eating and drinking, she was full of energy again. Yu Guangli learned from the lesson, and wrote a report, to apply to the higher authorities, to test Lin Fan's chess cannon. This was a reasonable request, so it was naturally approved quickly, but Yu Guangli was warned again to grasp the degree, and not to sacrifice Lin Fan's health, and not to let her faint again. Yu Guangli naturally agreed. So Lin Fan set off again. This time the journey was quite long, and they took a plane, and then a car to a test site that was also quite desolate. Where is this? Lin Fan stood alone in the middle of the test site, like a lonely poor little girl. This time it was just a test launch, so there was only one car to take her here, and now no one knew where it had gone. I heard it was the H-bomb blasting site. Wu Yusen naturally followed all the way, and replied as soon as he drove back in the car. Good guy. Lin Fan scratched his forehead. This scene is getting bigger and bigger. There's no way, your cannon. I'm afraid it can't handle ordinary sights. Wu Yusen laughed and teased. After the personnel were evacuated, Lin Fan didn't waste time and transformed directly. After confirming the direction and position of the projection, he fired a chest cannon without saying a word. A huge mushroom cloud rose between the sky and the earth, and the movement was no less than that of the H-bomb. Before Yu Guangli recovered from his shock, he heard Wu Yusen shouting again, Lin Fan. Lin Fan. What's wrong with Lin Fan? He asked quickly. This time he made a promise to ensure that the girl would come back healthy. As a result, the drone shot over. Well, the person fainted on the ground again. Yu Guangli held his heart with one hand. I wonder if my bonus is enough to deduct. Chapter 679, Small Black Room. Lin Fan was actually conscious. The moment the chest cannon was fired, she felt a very substantial sense of detachment. Then her entire consciousness fell into endless darkness, and she couldn't break free from the endless roar. She immediately realized what was going on, but because it was unprecedented, she couldn't tell at all. The previous strong sense of detachment was as if it was not the chest cannon that was fired, but herself. Or maybe there was a serious accident in the firing of the chest cannon, and Xingqian exploded? So she is in a soul state now? Or has she become a ghost? Lin Fan didn't feel much fear, but her entire consciousness was in a panic. In previous experiments, the most serious thing was coma, and it was a new day when her eyes closed and opened. Whether it was pain or other things, they all happened when she was awake. She was surrounded by people she was familiar with, but this time was completely different. It was as if a hand had pulled her soul out of her body and locked her in a small dark room. There are no boundaries here, no time passes, and she doesn't know whether she moved or not, because she can't feel her body at all, and can't see any colors except black. This feeling of being unable to control makes her think of Song Ren involuntarily. In the same situation, where his body can't control itself, has he ever felt the same as she does now? What went wrong with the launch? Was it successful? Am I dead now? If the star really explodes, has my body been blown to pieces? Momo? Cells? In this case, can the body's little repair power still be useful and regenerate a body? Fortunately, I just had a good new year and spent time with my parents. Even if I die, I have no regrets. But Wu Yusen and Jin Sichin will be sad, right? And Song Ren, what will happen if he knows that he is dead? And Antonio, his purpose is not clear yet. If I die, will he have any unusual movements? If he uses my death as an excuse to attack Country H, who will stop him then? Bah, how can I be so important? The crow brain might still be there, thinking good things. Lin Fan was in the darkness and could do nothing but think. All kinds of messy thoughts came to her mind, and she even began to review her life. What things had she done wrong? The forgotten memories in the past were like vivid pictures, ready to jump out. She didn't know what angle she was at, she just felt that there were pictures like a scrolling lantern everywhere in the darkness. It was like a 360-degree panoramic image, and she could clearly feel every fragment on each picture without even moving. Is she really dead? Otherwise, why would she start to review her life? Lin Fan, like a bystander, looked at all kinds of her memories. Some that had been forgotten, or were still fresh in her memory, and some that were accompanied by various strong emotions, but could not arouse her mood at the moment. I don't know how long it had been. Her eyes were looking at a memory from kindergarten. The little girl took advantage of the time to take a nap and go to the toilet, to escape from the teacher's supervision, ran to the wall, stepped on the iron railing, and tried to flip out. Lin Fan didn't remember doing such a rebellious thing when she was a child. She watched the short-armed and short-legged little person struggling to get out with relish, thinking about whether this escape was successful. Suddenly, a beam of dazzling light appeared in front of her. If she had seen such a strong light in the past, she would definitely close her eyes subconsciously, but unfortunately, she couldn't feel where her eyes were now. The colorful pictures disappeared in an instant, and the dark space returned to its original state. Only this beam of light remained, like a skylight opened from the outside of the small dark room. Lin Fan looked hard in the direction of the light, but it seemed to be meaningless. Soon, the strong light moved away, and after a piece of dragon-like fire with dazzling shadows, a vague round black shadow appeared on the horizon. Then, several black shadows took turns, and vision gradually recovered. Wu Yusen's anxious face became clear frame by frame like a reward for completing a game. His mouth kept opening and closing. Lin Fan couldn't hear what he said, but she could imagine it. In an instant, the floating feeling was gone. Her consciousness seemed to have weight and sank down. Her eyelids felt the touch of being stretched open. The roar subsided, and the confused voices gradually came into her ears. Stretcher. Stretcher. Come quickly. Wu Yusen turned around and shouted. So, she is not dead. Lin Fan fell into darkness again, before she could see Wu Yusen's surprised expression on her slightly upturned mouth, with a sense of relief. She has never felt it so real as now. It's great to be alive. When she opened her eyes again, it was a strange and familiar white ceiling. The next second, a bunch of heads surrounded her. Wu Yusen, Jin Sichin, and everyone in the Mecha team. Everyone stared at Lin Fan with burning eyes. Li Chunhua, the iron-headed fool, had red eyes. She looked like she was about to cry, which was very weird. This is the normal way to open up after a coma. Lin Fan's sigh in his heart was not over yet, and he heard Li Chunhua shouting loudly. Someone come. Someone come quickly. Lin Fan is awake. He shouted as he ran out vigorously. The gust of wind and the loud sound of the door hitting the wall caused everyone in the room, whether standing or lying, to follow his figure and leaving the room in silence. How long has she been unconscious? Lin Fan asked hesitantly with a frown. Li Chunhua's movement made her think more. Could she have been in a coma for several months in a vegetative state? She quickly looked at the few people who were still surrounding the bed. She didn't look obviously haggard or old. What was wrong with Li Chunhua? Not long, just after dark, only half a day. Wu Yusen saw that Lin Fan spoke normally, and his voice was not obviously hoarse, and he relaxed completely. Then Li Chunhua made such a big fuss. Before Lin Fan finished speaking, the person in the conversation pulled Dr. Zhao back. Dr. Zhao was a bit old after all. How could he stand Li Chunhua's nonsense? He was panting as soon as he entered the room, but he didn't say much. When he saw Lin Fan woke up, he just gave Li Chunhua a fierce look. If Song Ren was present, Li Chunhua would definitely be scolded. Unfortunately, among the people present in the Mecha team, Li Chunhua had the highest seniority. Although Gu had the authority of captain, he had not been appointed after all, and since he was a junior, it was difficult to say anything. This led to the fact that during the period of Song Ren's absence, Li Chunhua grew wildly like a weed with no one to take care of it, and became more and more invisible and shapeless. Dr. Zhao walked to the bedside to ask some questions, and when he started to check, Wu Yi ran in. How is Lin Fan? Very good. Dr. Zio touched it with his hand, looked at the data on the machine, adjusted the flow of the infusion tube and said, just like the previous times, it's the body's self-protection caused by exhaustion, and it fell into a coma. After replenishing energy, it can recover quickly and everything is normal. That's good, that's good. Wu Yui patted his chest and walked in with a new infusion bag in his other hand. If Lin Fan wakes up, will you give her nutrient solution? No, no. Lin Fan looked at the medicine on the infusion stand above her head, which was almost empty, and quickly refused. Don't hang it up after this bag is hung up. It's too uncomfortable to not be able to move my hand. I can need to replenish it. Every time she had an infusion, she felt like she was sealed. Not only could she not move the hand with the needle, but she also dared not move her arm and the whole body easily, for fear that the needle would be crooked and a big bulge would appear, and she would have to be pierced again. Okay, then don't hang her up. Dr. Zio nodded. His eyes swept over the big fool beside him, and the anger in his heart rose again. Zioli, if you still have the energy to leave, go get some food for Lin Fan. Don't just take advantage of me, an old lady. Lee Chun-hua blinked her clear and stupid eyes, and before she could get rid of the joy of Lin Fan waking up, she was pushed out by Gao Fei. Let's go, I'll go too. Get more food. One person can't get enough. I'll go help too. Seeing that Lin Fan's condition was stable, Ji-yu nodded and followed him out. Dr. Zio gave a few instructions and left. Wu Yi waited for a while, waited until all the nutrient solution on the shelf was infused, and then removed the needle for Lin Fan before leaving. Lin Dabao, who had escaped from the seal, was still in a weak state. Wu Yusen shook him up, and Jin Sichin chatted with him. After being drained every 2 or 3 days, and then fainted and replenished, normal people would not feel comfortable. Jin Sichin's role came out, guiding, sorting, and moistening things silently, to eliminate all the bad emotional tendencies that Lin Fan himself did not even notice. As they chatted, Lin Fan mentioned his previous experience in the small dark room, which attracted the attention of several people. Chapter 680, The Silly Man Who Lets Himself Go. Dr. Zio was called back to the ward again. When she learned that the coma was accompanied by a small dark room, she was also surprised. She carefully asked Lin Fan about the whole process, and recorded it one by one, and silently flipped through the previous case records. This situation has never happened before, right? Wu Yusen asked. Dr. Zio and Jin Sichin were both busy flipping through the materials, and Lin Fan answered himself. No, this is the first time. I don't know if it has anything to do with this launch experiment. By the way, how was the launch experiment? Was it successful? In the past, she could see the results directly, unlike this time, when she was completely in the dark. It worked. The power is one level higher. Wu Yusen smiled. The test site was blown up for you. We pulled you out of the ash pile. Ah. Lin Fan was speechless. What do you mean the test site was blown up by me? Isn't that the H-bomb blasting site? I fired from a long distance. Yes, your chest shot is much more powerful than the H-bomb. Wu Yusen grinned. After the big mushroom exploded, the smoke was like a sandstorm, and the wind blew the yellow soil of the entire test site into a desert. Here, the photo. Lin Fan tilted her head to look at Wu Yusen's phone, and she couldn't see anything. After looking at several photos. What is this? She felt lonely. That's it. Now this place is nothing but grey. Wu Yusen took back his phone. The lower land has all turned into sand. Anyway, the site is useless. It needs to be renovated before it can be put into use again. Lin Fan listened to it, and the key point was the word useless. Her heart tightened. You don't want me to pay for it? How much money would it cost for such a large piece of land? She was out of money now. What do you want to pay for? Lee Chun-hua arrived before he arrived, grinning with a mouthful of white teeth. Lin Fan, look what delicious food I brought you. He raised his hands to large bags full of food, and ran over excitedly. Wu Yusen immediately set up the small table, helped take the bags, and began to set the table. Ji-yu and Gao Fei also came in one after another, with their hands full of food. This amount may be too much for others, but it is just right for Lin Fan, who has just been emptied, and is in urgent need of replenishment. Without saying a word, she picked up the chopsticks and started eating. Anyway, they are all acquaintances, so she doesn't need to worry about her image. Lee Chun-ho looked at the way Lin Fan ate and unconsciously thought of her own Yu. His little kid also has such a good appetite, and every time he eats with a hu sound. Yu saw that the kindness in Lee Chun-ho's eyes was about to overflow and quickly patted his shoulder to remind him. Lee Chun-ho also woke up. If Lin Fan knew that he treated her as his daughter, he would probably beat her to a pulp. Lee Chun-ho shuddered and quickly found a topic. What did you say just now? Stay with me? I can. No. Lin Fan couldn't speak clearly with something in his mouth, so he let Wu Yusen take over. Hey. How can you pay for it? Lee Chun-ho smiled, dragged a stool, and sat beside Lin Fan's bed. These are all normal losses, and they are paid by the public account. If the experimenter has to pay for the damage during the experiment, who would dare to work freely in the future? Lin Fan thought about it and nodded repeatedly. Don't say that you don't have to pay. Team leader Yu originally thought that he would be deducted money, but he didn't this time. He is happy. Lee Chun-ho continued to gossip. Huh? What does it have to do with team leader Yu? Lin Fan asked when he had time. Last time, after you fainted, the higher-ups said that old Yu. Lee Chun-ho said that she was happy and started to act recklessly. Yu coughed to remind her, and she quickly changed her words. They said that team leader Yu was too harsh and ignored your health, so they deducted his bonus. He apologized to the whole institute. Didn't you know that? Lee Chun-ho glanced at Dr. Zio, who was still busy looking up information and didn't pay attention to what he said, so he felt relieved. Ah, I know. What's the matter? Lin Fan grabbed a fried chicken and asked while eating it. He promised that this time when testing the chest cannon, he would definitely put your health first and never let you faint from exhaustion. Lee Chun-ho imitated Yu Guangli's chest patting. Who knew that your chest cannon had such a strong energy? Just one shot, it emptied you out. Don't you know that old team leader Yu almost fainted at that time? Let's not talk about the money first. He just made a promise, and then he was slapped in the face. Then there was a notice to the whole institute. Who could afford to lose that person? In order to stop Lee Chun-ho from talking too much and making more mistakes, Yu peeled an orange and put it in Lee Chun-ho's hand. He took it and stuffed it into his mouth and finally stopped. Yu Guangli is the person in charge of 623 after all. Strictly speaking, their Mecha squad is also subordinate to 623. It is not good to speak so openly about the leader. Oh, that's how unfair it is for team leader Yu. Lin Fan immediately stood up for Yu Guangli. I didn't even know I was going to faint, let alone him. That's right. Lee Chun-ho finished eating the orange, slapped his thigh inside, took another orange handed over by the side, and started to peel it. After verifying the situation, the higher-ups did not punish team leader Yu. Yu quickly interrupted after handing the orange to Lee Chun-ho, trying to end the topic. After all, this was an unexpected situation, which was not controlled by human power, and naturally it cannot be used as a reason for punishment. Yeah. Lee Chun-ho nodded with an orange in his mouth. That's good, otherwise I will not be able to face team leader Yu in the future. Lin Fan also breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that you 800 are quite humane, not as cold as you seem. That's right. Lee Chun-ho began to get excited, stopped eating the orange, and started to brag. From infrastructure to personnel allocation, he commented on all the people and departments he knew and didn't know. When he was in high spirits, he even mentioned Zibisheng and Cui-yan. Yu kept stuffing oranges into Lee Chun-ho's mouth, but he couldn't stop him from talking. He ate and talked. He couldn't stop talking anymore, so he pushed him a few times, but was still complained. Why did he push him for no reason? Yu looked at Wu Yusen's cheesing eyes and suddenly didn't want to care about Lee Chun-ho. Forget it, destroy it. What is he thinking? He didn't give the orange in his hand to Lee Chun-ho, but stuffed it into his own mouth, chewing it as if he was biting Lee Chun-ho's flesh. Gao Fei held back his laughter and concentrated on helping Wu Yusen to serve the dishes and clean up the debris, ignoring the little movements of the two people next to him. According to his experience, it is better for ordinary people not to participate in the confrontation between geniuses and fools, otherwise it is easy to hurt themselves by mistake. The two doctors searched nearby and didn't find any useful information. In addition, Lin Fan's coma data this time all have precedence. If she hadn't said that there was an episode in the small black room, everyone would have classified this coma as the same as the previous coma where the energy was drained. But since the small black room has appeared, there must be something different. Could it be caused by the excessive energy of firing the chest cannon? Dr. Zio frowned and pondered. Then will there be a small black room every time the chest cannon is fired in the future? But what is the use of the small black room? Didn't you stop Lin Fan from firing the chest cannon? Lee Chun-ho interrupted again. Lin Fan looked up. Not allowed to fire? Well, although the chest cannon has huge energy, it drains the energy at once, which is not conducive to wartime operations, so I don't plan to test the chest cannon for the time being. Wu Yusen replied. That's right, Lin Fan nodded. If we stop firing now, if we don't kill the opponent when we fight, we will leave an opportunity for him to take advantage of us. It's really not appropriate. I thought the chest cannon was a trick, but this trick is so tricky that it might kill me too. Who would use a special move to make himself faint and unconscious? No, it's too unsafe. It's better not to use it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 681, Complete Self-Growth. Finally, based on the discussion between Dr. Zio and Jin Sichun, the reason for the appearance of the small black room was roughly inferred. It was because Xingqian's chest cannon was so powerful that it instantly extracted energy and emptied the body, causing the body to start the self-protection program. While she was in a coma and dormancy, her consciousness was not synchronized. So during the period when her body was closed and her consciousness was still awake, she was equivalent to being locked up in a black room until the rescuers such as Wu Yusen arrived. As for Lin Fan's statement, it seemed that decades had passed in the small black room, long enough for her to repeatedly review her not so short life, while in reality it was only 10 minutes. It was attributed to the fact that when in ideology, in different dimensional spaces, the passage of time was different from reality. Of course, all of this is speculation, and there is no way to verify it at present. In short, the appearance of the small black room has not yet found any substantial damage to Lin Fan. As for the benefits or other things, it may be necessary to find another opportunity to investigate, and there is no rush. Lin Fan listened to it, and it was almost the same as not listening. She could accept that she had turned into a mecha, as if being locked up in a small black room for ideology was not a big deal. As one of the most knowledgeable women on Langsing, she said that this was not a big deal, and ate her meal with great concentration. Speaking of which, as she was eating, she suddenly remembered, before, I thought that, if I were in a complete form, I would be like Antonio, and would not need to replenish energy all the time. She looked at the food on the table, as well as the food in the hands of Gao Fei and Jiu next to her. After the last upgrade, she shot a round of shots, and emptied herself out. After waking up, she ate a lot, and today she shot another round, and emptied herself out again. I don't know if it has changed now. Lin Fan opened his greasy mouth, and looked at the fried rice in front of him and thought, forget it, who cares if it has changed or not, let's talk about it after eating. With his body crying for food, Lin Fan picked up the spoon, and continued to replenish energy. Then you can't know for the time being, Jin Sichun said sarcastically, crossing his legs. According to 800's plan, although the chest cannon is temporarily banned from firing, you still need to test the shoulder cannon a few more times. The determination of firepower cannot be confirmed in one go, and multiple tests are inevitable. This is what Xingqian had planned long ago after the upgrade. It's just that after the chest cannon was fired today, this test project was temporarily cancelled. Lin Fan hummed without raising his head, indicating that he knew. Jin Sichun originally planned to test it twice more. If there were no problems, he would withdraw first, and go to the ugly woman, to implement the new plan. But today, the special situation of the consciousness black room appeared on Lin Fan's side, which made him worried again. he temporarily cancelled the travel plan and decided to accompany Lin Fan until the test was completed. This process of repeatedly emptying and forcibly filling it would be fine if it was ordinary guns and ammunition, but Xingqian is a living person inside. People can't avoid having various emotions, not to mention the sensitive Lin Fan. Originally, Lin Fan's recent performance made him feel at ease about the strength of this girl, but the sudden appearance of the Black Room sounded the alarm for him again. No matter how powerful she is, there are still areas that she cannot reach and cannot achieve. Especially in this situation of repeatedly testing the limit, accidents or collapse are most likely to occur. So Jin Sichin decided to reduce the contingency value to the lowest, and he had to stay. The days that followed were boring and tedious, just as Jin Sichin thought, replenishing, repairing, firing at full power until almost exhausted, and then replenishing. This process repeats over and over again. The intervals were also shortened from a 5-day cycle to a 3-day cycle. The power of the shoulder cannon was presented to everyone again and again, and as time went by, the limit value seemed to be increasing 623. Everyone took the data and speculated that the final evolution of Xingqian last time was not completely completed, so another comprehensive measurement was carried out. What? It's grown taller. When Lin Fan learned the news, he was watching the newly recruited Mecha pilots training on the playground. This batch of newcomers was numerous and tender, and a large group of them were running on the playground. Lin Fan looked at the youthful bodies and felt that he had become younger. However, the strength was still not as strong as when Song Ren was there. The devil instructor is worthy of his reputation. Li Chunhua and the others combined are not as cruel as Song Ren alone. It's another day that I miss Song Ren. I don't know how he has recovered. Just as my thoughts began to diverge, Wu Yusen came with new news. Lin Fan didn't care about Song Ren anymore. She fumbled with his tablet to look at the data. As a result, she was dizzy by the numbers all over the screen. Forget it, just tell me directly. She pushed the tablet away and waved her hands in disdain, trying to cover up her incompetence. Wu Yusen smiled and took back the tablet, looking at it himself and said, "The latest measurement shows that the highest point of Xingqian has increased by 20 centimeters compared to the original. After Xingqian finally evolved, it seemed that there was no difference from before, so the appearance was not measured at the beginning. As a result, this measurement really found a problem. The height of 20 centimeters is not conspicuous on Xingqian, and the recent tests were all long-range shooting. When he transformed, there was no one around. After the shooting, Xingqian was exhausted and turned back into Lin Fan. When people came to pick him up, they couldn't see anything. So no one has noticed this. Yu Guangli was already writing a self-criticism. We shouldn't not conduct rigorous measurements just because the appearance hasn't changed. This made it uncertain whether Xingqian's height had changed when he was fully evolved or whether it had changed recently. What's the difference? Lin Fan scratched his chin. It's not as important as the cannon on the shoulder or the chest. In the past, he was a little taller every time he evolved, and he changed his appearance. This time, he just grew a little taller. What's the big deal? The difference is huge. Wu Yusen explained patiently with a smile. If he grew taller during the last absorption of 818 evolution, then it might be okay. As you said, before the evolution of the energy cannon, the height increase didn't seem to have much meaning. Lin Fan nodded. But think about it, if his height didn't increase during the evolution, then these 20 centimeters grew recently. How is that possible? Lin Fan retorted without thinking. Xingqian has been around for so long, and except for those few times when he evolved, I've never seen him grow taller. What if that's possible? Wu Yusen bared his teeth, not giving in at all. Let's not talk about whether he grew taller or not. When he fired the shoulder cannon, you felt the increase in Xingqian's physical strength, right? Lin Fan joked. This is true. Before, because the first time he fired the shoulder cannon, Yu Guangli lost face and face, and the second time was a false alarm, which led to him strictly controlling Lin Fan's exhaustion every time he fired. Make sure that the shoulder cannon is fired to the limit, but Lin Fan himself still has enough strength to not faint. It was under such strict control that they found that the maximum limit of Xingqian's energy cannon was increasing. After firing the same number of shells again and again, Lin Fan was full of energy, and now she still has some energy left after firing a little bit each time. After several times, they finally determined that Xingqian's physical strength limit seemed to be gradually increasing, and the firing limit of the energy cannon also expanded with the expansion of Xingqian's energy value. So when exactly did the height increase? This is really important. It is another favorable data, an important evidence to support whether Xingqian began to evolve in a self-circulating cycle after its complete evolution. What should we do now? We didn't measure it at the beginning. Lin Fan seemed to see that the bonus that Yu Guangli had managed to keep was spreading its wings and flying again. Although he sympathized, Yu Guangli, as the team leader, was indeed responsible for this matter. They are now looking through the previous drone footage, trying to restore the height data of Xingqian after his last evolution. When Wu Yusen came out, the technicians in 623 were typing on the keyboard. Can it be restored? Lin Fan thought of the 3D Xingqian statue made by Xiaojing at the door of the laboratory, and felt that it didn't seem to be a difficult task. It can be, but whether it is accurate or not is another matter. Wu Yusen shrugged. The angle of the drone, reference objects, etc., seem to be very important. I don't know much about this, so I can only say that something is better than nothing. Lin Fan looked at Li Chunhua standing at the edge of the playground with his hands on his hips and yelling at the new recruits who were training. Suddenly, an idea flashed in his mind. How about asking Antonio? Chapter 682. Try again. Antonio's Apollo seems to be a complete form. He doesn't need extra energy for daily life. He also has a shoulder cannon. Xingqian also has a shoulder cannon after evolution, and a chest cannon. Whether it needs to replenish energy for daily life has not been verified yet, but it should be very close to Apollo's state. As the only two biological armors on Langsing, does Apollo also have a certain reference value? Wu Yusen subconsciously wanted to deny Lin Fan's proposal, but after thinking about it again, it seems that it is not impossible. If the complete form of biological armor is based on Apollo, then it is reasonable to refer to the data for comparison with Xingqian. As for how the data comes, that is not what they should think about. Wu Yusen raised the corner of his mouth and called Zhu Kunjin. Zhu Kunjin was a little surprised after receiving the call. After organizing Wu Yusen's words, he immediately connected with the old man. Are you saying that the fully evolved form of biological armor has the ability to grow in a self-circulating cycle? The old man said, while holding the phone, looking at Sen Fangyuan not far away. Sen Fangyuan immediately found out the latest information about Xingqian and sent it to the old man for him to review carefully. Based on the current data, it is possible. Zhu Kunjin did not hide anything and said it directly. It's just that Xingqian has just evolved and there is too little data. If there is Apollo's data for comparison and reference, it can be basically confirmed. Apollo's data. The old man dragged out his voice to look at the file. Indeed, the idea is not bad. Can you get it? Oh, what you said, old man. Zhu Kunjin immediately shouted, if I had a way, would I still bother you? I don't know how that old P taught the stupid boy. He looks stupid, but in fact, he is very smart. After the new year, when Antonio just returned to the Special Affairs office with Lin Fan and others, Zhu Kunjin deliberately did something. Under the pretext of the New Year's welfare, the entire Special Affairs office was given a comprehensive physical examination. Because the Special Affairs office has its own medical department, everyone does not need to go out and can directly go to the medical department to line up. Lin Fan and Wu Yusen went there, of course, and they also gave Antonio a full body checkup. I thought I could get some information about this guy's physical examination. Who knew that he went there, but he didn't miss any items such as height and weight, but he didn't do a blood cell test, which really exposed the problem. Do you think he is stupid? How is it possible? Lin Fan and his friends have never dared to take Anthony lightly. Of course, this is also related to the position. If it was Lin Fan who ran to Old P's territory, she would not be stupid enough to do these projects. At the beginning, she hid her period and didn't dare to leave her blood sample, let alone a physical examination. Now that technology has developed to a certain extent, this kind of biochemical specimens may be used for unknown purposes. At that time, the trouble will not be as simple as leaking data. You ask me for it, who should I ask? The old man replied slowly, his eyes never leaving Xingqian's files. Hey, if you can't do it, no one in the world can. Zhu Kunjan flattered him. Oh, you're so good at talking. The old man smiled. Okay, I know what you mean. I'll go back and discuss with the big secret group and think of a way to see if we can get the Apollo data. Then I'll wait for your good news here. Zhu Kunjan smiled so hard that his teeth were not visible. He hung up the phone and sent a message to Wu Yusen. Wu Yusen showed the message to Lin Fan. Lin Fan gave a thumbs up. The director is really awesome. That's right. Wu Yusen smiled. Our director is really amazing. Let's all learn from him. You've learned well, but I can't. Lin Fan shook his head, his smileys, like it swelled on his face, a semi-permanent smile. You have that essence, so I'll forget it. Whether it's always smiling like Zhu Kunjan, or being cold like Zui Yan, it takes a lot of scheming to do it. Lin Fan thinks she is a silly girl, just a little more intelligent than Li Chunhua, but she is not really smart, so forget it. What are you talking about? Wu Yusen saw that she didn't agree or disagree, so he immediately moved closer. Let me tell you, the director was not like this when he was young. He was very hot-tempered back then. Lin Fan listened to Zhu Kunjan's gossip about the past with great interest. In the 623 meeting room, everyone also had their own opinions and argued equally. It's already early March, and the shoulder cannon has been tried so many times. It's time to try the chest cannon. Someone suggested. No, the chest cannon is too powerful in extracting energy. One shot will destroy an experimental site, and Lin Fan is prone to coma. Someone objected. The past was the past, and the present is now. Someone else said. The chest cannon made Lin Fan comatose back then, but it may not be the case now. The energy of the stars is increasing, and the upper limit of the shoulder cannon is increasing. The star was emptied by one shot back then, but it may not be the case now. The opponent frowned, and did not refute. Besides, how can a test be completed in just one try? Seeing that no one said anything, the speaker began to persuade. Even if it is emptied again this time, we still have time to replenish it. At least the data of the chest cannon can be verified and perfected once more. Whether the chest cannon can become a special trick, or can't be used at all, we have to try it a few more times to be sure. Practice makes perfect. What if after the star energy increases, she still has strength left after firing the chest cannon? Yes. Didn't Lin Fan appear in the small dark room when she was unconscious before? Is it possible that she appeared when her physical strength was at the critical point? Maybe now that the star energy has increased, she won't get dizzy? If she doesn't get dizzy after firing the chest cannon, then at least she has the ability to run away and save her life. The stars can fly 100,000 miles, and ordinary things can't catch up with her. It's better to measure it to make people feel at ease, right? 100,000 8,000 miles is just a general description. Compared with the classic fairy tale characters, it describes the speed of the stars, so everyone just says it for fun. After repeated persuasion, fewer and fewer people held opposing opinions. Yu Guangli also frowned and stopped talking. Besides, all the test sites that can be used now have been destroyed. Now there is only the last experimental site left. After giving Xingqian another try, there will be no suitable site in G for her to test her firepower in a short time. Team leader Yu, do you really want to waste this opportunity on the shoulder cannon that has been tried more than 10 times? The data of the shoulder cannon has been mastered. Although Xingqian's energy limit has been increasing, the power of a single cannon has remained basically unchanged. The firing limit of the shoulder cannon is just a single-digit jump on a large base. It can't be said to be meaningless, but the surprise value is indeed decreasing, far less than the chest cannon, that has only been fired once. Now they have fully measured all the data of Xingqian and basically have a good idea of it. The only three things that are uncertain are the vast amount of electricity contained in Xingqian's body, the energy limit that has been continuously increasing recently, and her chest cannon. Because the energy is too huge, one shot will drain all the energy of the body, causing Xinchen to lose the ability to act later, and the disadvantages are obvious, so it is forbidden to fire. Yu Guangli frowned. What everyone said made sense. If we don't try it again when it's safe, then the powerful chest cannon behind will be just a decoration, a waste of nothing. I don't know if P country's Apollo has a chest cannon. If it does, will it be like this? Or will it be unrestricted? Yu Guangli's mind was full of thoughts. He looked up and found that the opinions of the people present were basically unified, and they finally made up their minds. I'll apply to try it, Yu Guangli said in a deep voice. Apply to test the Xinchen chest cannon again. Chapter 683, Jin Sichen's Poisonous Tongue. Lin Fan was not surprised when she knew she had to test the chest cannon again. After all, how could such a powerful weapon be sealed and not used? Especially in a safe environment, she could make up for it by eating a few more meals. It was impossible not to try. So, on the day of testing the chest cannon, she ate a little more, hoping that the energy she had saved up at the last minute would be of some use. This time, Jin Sichen also sat in the car and sent Lin Fan there. Lin Fan thought he was worried about the appearance of the small black room, but he didn't expect him to talk about other things. After this test is completed, we should go back. Go back. Lin Fan's somewhat uneasy mood was suddenly interrupted. Go back to the Special Affairs office? Yes. Jin Sichen touched his showy bangs. What? Are you not thinking about your home? He was dressed particularly showy today. His hair was slick with hairspray and shiny, and the position of each bang seemed to be carefully designed. He was wearing a snow-white camel hair trench coat, which was open and unbuttoned, revealing a pink and purple big bow shirt and smoky grey trousers. Walk gracefully, don't be too eye-catching. Lin Fan was stunned at first sight. Why did this peacock suddenly spread its tail? Fortunately, it was not the first time that Jin Sichen dressed like this. After staring at it for a while, Lin Fan no longer took it seriously and continued to do what he had to do. Where? This was what Lin Fan said to Jin Sichen just now. She was not sick, and she was happy and painful in this kind of repeatedly draining test. I just wonder why you suddenly stopped testing. Are the aliens coming soon? She did not forget that there was a ship of aliens in the sky approaching Langsing. That's not the case. Jin Sichen flicked his hair. It's just that there is no place for you to shoot in G, so the shooting test will end today. Huh? Lin Fan was stunned. Come to think of it, it is true that every test has been changed to a different site recently, and every time the test is over, the site is almost scrapped. She scratched her head awkwardly, not knowing what to say. We were supposed to go back anyway. Wu Yusen tried to smooth things over. It's already early March. In half a month or so, something will happen in the sky. You can't keep getting stuck in this kind of exhausting test. Proper rest is necessary. That's true. Jin Sichen nodded. So in short, this test is the last one of the phases. Don't worry. It's just this one time. Whether you faint or not, you can rest later. What you said is true. Lin Fan wiped the non-existent sweat from his forehead. Can't you count on me for anything? Didn't I say I might not faint? To be honest, I don't really believe in the speculation of those people from 800. Jin Sichen said arrogantly, crossing his legs. The other people from 800 in the car were angry, but there was indeed a precedent before, and there was nothing they could do to him, so they just pretended not to hear it. It has nothing to do with speculation. The main thing is whether the energy of the stars has increased more than the energy absorbed by a chess cannon. Wu Yusen was quite objective. It's actually a subtraction problem. I'm optimistic about today's results. Lin Fan just laughed. Jin Sichen was discouraged again and argued with Wu Yusen. The two of them said something, and the atmosphere was gentle. Lin Fan looked at this and then that, and listened to the two people talking all the way, and unknowingly arrived at the destination. When getting off the car, watching the two people waving at her with smiles, she realized that she was so busy watching the two people bickering that she had completely forgotten the uneasiness in her heart. Okay, just like Jin Sichen said, isn't it just a little dizzy? The worst result is to stay in a small dark room again and review life again. It's no big deal. What's there to be nervous about? The first time is new, the second time is familiar, and Lin Fan feels that the whole person is in a very good state. After signaling the drone to start, it entered the star state and then fired the chest cannon in the indicated direction. This time she really felt the process and didn't feel dizzy. The moment the chest cannon was fired, she felt a force forward and a force backward, as if torn her in half. The forward force took away most of her body's energy and pushed forward, while the backward thrust pushed her backward. In the end, she staggered and couldn't stand still. After retreating several steps, she knelt on one leg and had to support herself with her arms to keep her balance. Her eyes went black, but fortunately she was awake and her consciousness remained normal. She was a little weak, but at least she could still maintain the state of the mecha. Good sign. Just as she finished sighing in her heart, there was a roar in the distance. One rumble after another was long and fragmented, like a loud bang, and like a combination of explosions. Xingqian looked up, and a huge mushroom cloud stood between heaven and earth. The white mushroom cloud continued to expand, as if it supported the heaven and earth, and spread outward with a roar. Xingqian. Call Xingqian. Yu Guangli's anxious voice came from the headset. Xingqian received. Lin Fan responded immediately. Xingqian feels good. There is no problem in keeping the mecha in condition. Great. Many voices came from the other side, not just Yu Guangli's. Xingqian, be safe. Be prepared for the upcoming dust. The signal in the headset suddenly changed, with more rustling sounds. Xingqian received. Lin Fan replied as he looked at the smoke and dust rolling in from far away in the sky and close at hand. The mushroom cloud began to spread, and spread out at some point, rushing in all directions with great momentum. Lin Fan didn't really think it was a big cloud. Even if it was a cloud, the weight was scary enough. She stood up, put one leg behind her, lowered her body center of gravity, crossed her hands in front of her eyes, took a defensive posture, and prepared to face the surging dust. It happened in a flash. The smoke and dust exploded with great power and quickly engulfed Xingqian with the momentum of thousands of troops. The fine powder and gravel hit the hard outer armor and crackled. The more than 3-meter long mecha disappeared in an instant. The weight of the star is very large. Lin Fan deliberately lowered his center of gravity, and the ground was sunken. It should be impossible to move easily, but Lin Fan felt the thrust in this strong wind. Although it was not enough to shake the star, the power was imaginable. In the smoke and dust, the rumbling sound was endless. Lin Fan finally thought of the roar in the small black room last time, which was about the same as now. So when he lost consciousness last time, he should still be in the mecha state. Otherwise, with this level of smoke and dust, even if Wu Yusen and others dug themselves out, they would definitely be finished. The chest cannon drained most of the energy of the star, but she was a mecha after all, and the remaining energy was still no problem to resist such a level of smoke and dust explosion. After all the noise dissipated, Lin Fan subconsciously shook off the dust on his body and looked again. Sure enough, a new sand sea was formed. It was grey everywhere, and the air was still filled with smoke and dust that had not fallen to the ground. Soon, an armored vehicle with fog lights on drove over, as if afraid of accidentally hitting something, and it also shouted with a loudspeaker all the way. Seeing the shaking lights, Lin Fan no longer insisted, dismantled the armor state, sat down in the ash pile, and was splashed with smoke and dust. He vomited hard, and the more he vomited, the more he vomited. When Wu Yusen and Jin Sichin's car arrived in front of her, Lin Fan had become a little mudman. Wu Yusen hurriedly got out of the car to pull people, while Jin Sichin laughed in the car, and when people came up, he stepped forward in time to help dust with a towel, and didn't forget to complain. Oh my, where did this cat come from? Did it roll in the ash pile? Lin Fan's mouth was full of dust, and his originally good mood was already very unhappy. When Jin Sichin provoked him, he immediately jumped on him without caring about anything. Come on. Together. Jin Sichin wanted to hide, but how could he be faster than Lin Fan? Just look at the clothes he carefully selected, and the dust all over his shiny hair. Lin Fan was not satisfied, so he wiped his face with both hands. 2 dusty slap marks appeared on his fair face. Jin Sichin was emo, and couldn't laugh anymore. Lin Fan pointed at him and laughed. Are you happy? Seeing that this venomous tongue suffered a loss, the other people in the car finally couldn't help but chuckle. Wu Yusen pursed his lips, but couldn't hide his upturned mouth corners. He took the towel from Jin Sichin's hand and left him with a sentence. You deserve it. This is the end of the evolution of Mecha. I won't write about evolution in the future. It's troublesome. It's a complete form with everything. How many words can be saved, right? Recently, Baozi praised me again. Hey, I'm happy when I praise him. In fact, I have been writing for so long that I have forgotten a lot of the previous content. I went back to look and found that these were what I wrote at the beginning. I guess I will forget everything I wrote before when I finish it. If there are any bugs in the middle, Baozi, remember to remind me. Mua. Love you guys. Chapter 684 Zhangcheng. What else could Jin Sichin do? He couldn't beat him, and his talent was useless against Lin Fan. Jin, weak and helpless Sichin slowly wiped his face with his hands, looked at the dust on his fingertips, touched his back teeth with the tip of his tongue, and smiled. Looking at Wu Yusen, who was wiping the dust off Lin Fan with his back to him, he held the grudge against him without any psychological burden. Guide. After the matter was over, Lin Fan did not stay any longer. After eating and drinking and resting for a while, he was ready to return to the Special Affairs office. But before leaving, he was still worried about Song Ren. He secretly went to see him through the glass window again. Song Ren was still lying in the running water, with his face facing the ceiling, and no expression could be seen. However, judging from the color of his blood, his nutritional supplements were still sufficient, and his muscles had not obviously atrophied. But Song Ren, who was like the emperor's favorite before, was still far from the gentle devil instructor. Lin Fan thought of the long time he had spent in the small dark room without being able to control himself, and suddenly he could understand Song Ren's mentality. Song Ren felt someone was staring at him. He slowly moved his newly abled neck to look for someone, but there was no figure on the glass window, as if everything was just his illusion. Lin Fan carefully asked the doctor in charge, and knew that Song Ren's current recovery progress was good except for the slowness. It was hard to say whether he was relieved or worried. With the current progress, it seemed that Song Ren's recovery was only a matter of time. But the cruelest thing in the world is time. Lin Fan spent only a dozen minutes in the small dark room for decades. She didn't have too many ambitions for life, and was more of a go-with-the-flow person. But even so, when she recalled the extra time, she felt a little uncomfortable. And Song Ren, can he really survive the long time? After thinking about it, Lin Fan still wanted to go back to the Special Affairs office to look for other ways. She didn't find the 1000-year-old master last time. Maybe she should go there specially? Along the way, Lin Fan was immersed in her thoughts and was a little absent-minded. When she came to her senses, she was already in the Special Affairs office, and Wu Yusen and Jin Sichin were nowhere to be seen. Lin Fan was not worried about these two powerful guys. He scratched his head and ran to find Wang Fengfeng to ask where the Kaiansu lady was. Wang Fengfeng didn't know where the Kaiansu lady was, but he pulled Lin Fan to praise her, which made Lin Fan feel a little flattered. He also worked part-time as an information worker for the STAR team in the Special Affairs office. After the STAR was upgraded, the specific information of the ammunition was in his hands. You didn't see it. Mr. Ban was so happy, and so was team leader Zhang. Wang Fengfeng danced with his hands and gestured to show the group members how they looked after they knew the power of the energy cannon of the STAR evolution. Team leader Zhang. Lin Fan heard the unfamiliar name and didn't react for a while. Who is this? It's the team leader of the equipment group, Zhangcheng. Wang Fengfeng replied, you have seen him. Didn't we have a meeting when you stopped the truck with your bare hands and Wu Yusen brought you back? He was there at that time. Lin Fan flipped through his memory, and it seemed that there was such a person. He was in his 40s, with grey hair, thin, and always frowned, as if he was angry. But she hadn't seen this person since she went to 800. He is the leader of the equipment group. Then what about Kuan Yin Dang? No, isn't the equipment group under Mr. Ban? Lin Fan was stunned. After she came back to the Special Envoy Institute, Kuan Yin Dang was in charge of the weapons, and there was also Mr. Ban who roared at any time. Wasn't he the head of the equipment department? Isn't our institute a scientific research department? Wang Fengfeng continued to explain under Lin Fan's confused look. The props department has two groups. One is responsible for the traditional refining group, which is in charge of Kuan Dang, and the other is more scientific, the equipment group for mechanical research, which is in charge of group leader Zhang Cheng. These two groups are collectively called the props department, but most people would call it the equipment department, which is more convenient. Mr. Ban is the director, and Zhang Cheng and Kuan Yingdang are both deputy directors. The contents they are responsible for, how should I put it, there is some overlap, but they are basically different. The talisman gun was made by their cooperation at the beginning. Have you seen it? It's quite novel, but it's not very easy to use in practice. Lin Fan nodded and roughly understood. Kuan Yingdang is into fantasy, Zhang Cheng is into science. How come I've never seen team leader Zhang when I'm walking around the institute every day? Lin Fan was surprised. She wandered around when she had nothing to do and even got to know the kitchen chef and the cleaning lady, but how come she had no impression of the head of the equipment group? Didn't you find Yanjing before you came back? There are so many secret passages and mechanisms in there. Wang Fengfeng saw that Lin Fan really didn't know the situation, so he crossed his hands, found a random place to lean, and prepared to talk for a long time. Team leader Zhang was originally very enthusiastic about these mechanical structures, and after knowing about them, he applied for a transfer to do research. You also know the situation in the institute. Fantasy props are actually used more. In terms of machinery, if there is no breakthrough research, they are not used that much on weekdays. Mr. Ban's position as minister is actually just a combination of ability and qualifications. If the previous minister hadn't retired, Kuan Yingdang would have been too young. In terms of practicality alone, Ban He might not have been able to become minister, but Kuan Yingdang was happy. Technical personnel like them are happy to work, and they think it is a waste of time to be a leader, hold meetings, and brainstorm. He is happy when Mr. Ban is the director. This also makes Mr. Ban more and more irritable, because he always has to spend a lot of time doing things that are not related to research, and always feels that there is not enough time. Therefore, the equipment group of the props department does not have such a strong presence in the special affairs office. But because the special affairs office is located underground, there are still many scientific and technological things, so the equipment group usually does some maintenance work. If there is no new breakthrough in research and development, how can Zhang Cheng not be anxious? So as soon as the new secret passage was discovered, Zhang Cheng reported and took people to study it. Kuan Yingdang and Mr. Ban in the institute watched it every day, so they were not afraid of being too busy. After discovering the shuttle later, Zhang Cheng was even more obsessed with it, and he didn't want to leave. Don't mention him. If the special affairs office didn't have an important mechanical personnel task to take charge, Mr. Ban would have gone. And in order to seize the right to speak, the special affairs office would not let Zhang Cheng withdraw from the shuttle research. This has led to the fact that for such a long time, the team leader Zhang Cheng has no sense of existence in Lin Fan's mind. Then why did he come back this time? Lin Fan asked. According to what you said, he is so fanatical. How can he come back without studying the shuttle? It's not that he looks down on those researchers. According to the current technological level of Lansing, the technology on the shuttle cannot be studied thoroughly in just a few months. It's Jin Sichin. During the new year, he was so happy to serve the clown that he gave a stack of cracking information, which contains the content of the shuttle. Wang Fengfeng opened a thickness between his thumb and index finger. You didn't see that those scientists were almost crazy, and they were eager to pounce on it. Can we fall behind? Mr. Bang called Zhang Cheng back. Anyway, the shuttle has been studied for a while, and what should be studied has been studied. If it can't be studied, it's useless to stay for a few more months. This old Zhang has been chewing on it since he got the information. His face is red, as if he married a concubine. Wang Fengfeng was quick-witted, and seeing Lin Fan's disapproving expression, he quickly made a few papa sounds and pretended to hit his mouth. Look at my mouth. Anyway, I'm so excited. And your latest data is here, isn't it? Kuan Yingdang really doesn't know as much as he does about firepower value, so Ban He took everyone to see it, and they all went crazy after seeing it. Lin Fan pointed his index finger at him unhappily. You have such a mouth. If you keep talking so much, you will be beaten sooner or later. No, Wang Fengfeng didn't care. Everyone in the institute is casual and won't care about these small details. Seeing that he didn't listen, Lin Fan stopped talking. He asked instead, "Where's John Woo? And where's Jin Sichin? I haven't seen them since I came back. Are they on a mission? Baozi rewarded me again yesterday. I'm happy. The temperature has dropped here recently. It was so hot last week that I had to wear short sleeves. These 2 nights it was 0 degrees and I wore autumn clothes, autumn pants, and a small cotton jacket. I feel cold hands when I wash hands with cold water. The weather changes so fast. How is the weather over there? Is it cold?" Chapter 685, Mecha Self-Circulation. Wu Yusen was dragged away by Jin Sichin. Jin Sichin had been thinking about the plan to capture the ugly woman, and he left after reporting back without even stopping. He said it has been delayed for too long, and he is afraid that the effect caused by the new year will cool down. If it is delayed any longer, the effect will be even worse. Wang Fengfeng didn't know how he knew so much detail, as if he was watching from the side. Although he is a gossiper, most of the news is accurate. I know this. Lin Fan also found a chair to sit down and chat. It was because the small black room suddenly appeared before, and he was worried about me and kept accompanying me. But the small black room has not appeared since then. If I had known. Knowing earlier is worth a lot of money. Wang Fengfeng patted Lin Fan's shoulder comfortingly. Besides, this is not a delay in anything. You have to believe in Jin Sichin's ability. He can even bring the dead back to life, let alone the ugly woman. Lin Fan was originally a little relieved, but after hearing what Wang Fengfeng said later, he chose not to continue the topic because it was difficult to explain. What about Wu Yusen? Why did he go with her? I don't know. Jin Sichin dragged him along and insisted that he go with her. Wang Fengfeng shrugged, looking confused. Maybe he has a special mission. I don't know. This is how it is in the Special Affairs Office. Information flows freely, but when it comes to confidential parts of the mission, they can't talk about it. Everyone knows their limits. Lin Fan took out her cell phone and wanted to send a message to Wu Yusen, but then she thought about the fact that he was going to the female clown, so she decided to forget it. Okay, you don't know where the 1000-year-old master is, right? Then I'll go ask the director. After gossiping a lot, she didn't forget her original purpose. After saying goodbye to Wang Fengfeng, Lin Fan was ready to look for ZHU Kunjin, but she received a notice on the way that she had to attend another meeting. So she changed to the meeting room. When she arrived, there were already people inside. Kuan Yingdang was sitting and talking with a middle-aged man with grey hair. It was Zhang Cheng who she had just talked to Wang Fengfeng about. Thinking about what she was talking about just now, and talking about a meeting, it really happened a short while later, and she saw him again. Lin Fan didn't know what fate this was. Seeing her coming in, both of them stood up. Especially Zhang Cheng next to him. His brows were no longer frowned, and he looked at Lin Fan with enthusiasm that could not be concealed, and it seemed that little stars could be seen in his eyes. With Kuan Yingdang's introduction, the two people who were not familiar with each other got to know each other again. At this moment, Wang Fengfeng rushed in trotting, holding a notebook, and grinning at Lin Fan. There were footsteps from behind. It was Wen Ji who arrived. He also had a stack of documents in his hand, and had not exchanged a few words with a few people. Zhu Ping came in. After a period of transition, he returned to his original carefree and playboy appearance. It is true that it is difficult to change a person's nature. Wang Fengfeng also discussed with Lin Fan how long he could be obedient. Lin Fan said that he suffered from the ugly woman and it would take at least half a year to recover, but Wang Fengfeng gave her a meaningful smile. Now it seems that men understand men better. Not long after, ZHU Kunjin and Ban He also came together. Compared to Zhang Cheng's unhappy look, Mr. Bang was really irritable, as if he could curse people as soon as he opened his mouth. Lin Fan looked at the familiar and unfamiliar people and thought of the meeting when she first arrived at the Special Affairs Office, as if it happened just yesterday. Only this time, Jin Sichin and Wu Yusen were not there, and neither was Mr. Kyan. The meeting started quickly, and first of all, the responsibilities of the participants were briefly introduced. Zhu Ping was a logistics staff member who replaced Wu Yusen. Zhang Cheng was a backup member of the equipment department, and the responsibilities of others remained unchanged. Afterwards, Wang Fengfeng began to work as a junior assistant and operate the projection. Wen Ji glanced at everyone and took the lead in reporting Lin Fan's physical examination report. As usual, he even helped Jin Sichin read his psychological analysis report. The summary is that Lin Fan is currently in good and stable condition, both physically and mentally. Then, Wang Fengfeng began to introduce the information of Xingqian's latest evolution. When talking about firepower attack power, Zhang Cheng took over the baton and started to analyze directly. It was at this time that Lin Fan realized how powerful his newly evolved energy cannon was. If she had this function during the battle with Gro, then, based on Apollo's performance, he should not have a chest cannon, otherwise he would not have used it in that situation. Zhang Cheng ended with a sentence and sat back. Lin Fan looked up. So are there still individual differences? Zhu Kunjin and Ban He did not speak. Apollo's data had not been obtained yet. Their analysis was all based on the calculations of Party H, based on the existing data. It was not accurate, but it should be close. Then, Zhu Kunjin spoke up and put forward the speculation of the self-circulation evolution of the Mecha. At present, it has been basically confirmed that the energy will automatically increase after the evolution of the complete body of Xingqian. So what about self-circulation? Can the internal self-circulation of a fully evolved Mecha be constructed? During the last evolution, the two palms were combined to absorb 818 at the same time. They watched and analyzed the video repeatedly. Is this the basic condition for the establishment of the cycle? The so-called self-circulation means that when there is no special major consumption, there is no need to replenish energy, and the Mecha's own energy circulation can compensate for daily consumption. Apollo seems to be able to do this, but Xingqian, I don't know yet. Anyway, it was not possible before. So Lin Fan needs to eat a lot every day and absorb energy from outside. If Xingqian can establish a self-circulation, it will naturally be more convenient than external absorption. Otherwise, it may sound okay to stop eating and drinking to replenish energy in the middle of a busy day, but in wartime or inconvenient circumstances, it may be fatal. Just like the battery of the bionic armor is gone, it must stop, and if it is not replaced with new energy, it will be a pile of scrap metal. Didn't Song Ren suffer a big loss this time? Before, I was always keeping a close eye on the data of the energy cannon. The energy required for the launch was too large, so I had to use external intake to supplement it. Now I don't need it. Xianalin, you should feel it these days. If you don't eat and drink, will you feel a deficit in energy? Zhu Kunjin ordered. Lin Fan naturally agreed. Not getting fat is one thing, but spending more than 2 hours eating for each meal, she is also tired. Okay. Liking to eat and having to eat are two different things. No one likes to be helpless. Zhu Kunjin also talked about the dynamics of the alien unidentified visitors. It will take about 20 days to reach the Earth-Moon system. The time is not long, nor short. It seems that it is too late to prepare anything, so I just put my hope on the ugly woman. Do I need to practice something else? Lin Fan asked. It is impossible to just sit there and wait for the other party to arrive, right? Although it is possible that there is indeed not much that can be done. Zhu Kunjin did not want to put too much pressure on Lin Fan. Xingqian, this biological armor is really magical. The evolved energy cannon has the function of automatically calibrating the crushes. Basically, it can be said that it can hit wherever it is pointed, and there is no need to practice anymore. The only disadvantage is that it consumes energy to fire. At present, they have to test whether the self-circulation is established, so there is no plan to let her move in the Mecha body again, nor to let her perform any large movements that consume physical energy. Zhu Kunjin planned and said so. Quan Yingdang suddenly said, how about letting Lin Fan practice elemental control? Yesterday, Yang Yabaozi asked Lin Ma to arrange an ending, either to die or never to contact each other again. Most people don't like Lin Ma, right? However, my writing style is slightly more realistic. Considering the reality, although Lin Fan is far away from his family, he still cares about his family, so he won't hate Lin's mother. After all, if she did, Lin Fan would definitely be sad. She was not completely cured at that time, and her mother died, and it was the end. When Lin Fan didn't want to live, she would rather die than let Lin's mother die. She actually cared about Lin's mother in her heart. What is this called? Blood instinct or something else? I can't say it all at once. Can you understand it? Many children, even if they don't get any love, even if they grow up, become independent, and can get rid of their original families, still have a special place for blood ties in their hearts. Or it can be said that it is an obsession with an imaginary family, which is difficult to pull out. Unless it is the kind of hatred that wants to tear you apart, it is an extreme case. Generally speaking, even if it is said that the two are unrelated, more or less, this part of the emotion will remain somewhere in your heart. It's just a little bit. I have arranged the ending of Lin's mother a long time ago. I guess you will feel refreshed after reading it, but it is not necessarily. Maybe you still think I abuse you. Oh my. In fact, in real life, although Lin Ma is oppressive, she is not so bad that it makes one's teeth itch. Next time I will write a particularly bad character. In this way, Lin Ma is still a good person. I finally understand why there are so many orphans in novels. Hey, I won't write about my parents in the future, which saves a lot of words. Chapter 686, Squatting at the grocery store. Everyone turned to look at Kuan Yin Dang. He continued slowly, aren't they setting up a supernatural academy recently? I've read the syllabus written by several of their departments. It's about guiding elemental affinity from scratch. It's not that difficult. Why not let Lin Fan try it? Zhu Kunjin lowered his eyes, thinking. But I don't have elemental affinity. Lin Fan scratched her head. It's not that she wanted to be lazy. At the beginning, old Kyan touched her bones personally and said that she couldn't go this way. It's impossible to question old Kyan, right? Or should she take another test? Lin Fan was eager to try it. She wanted to cultivate immortality. Maybe not. Wang Fengfeng interrupted. He stretched his head to look at Lin Fan. I don't know whether the element are friendly or not, but the lightning element hidden in your body are not available to ordinary people. Yes. Kuan Yin Dan continued. I also want to know if we can use the method of guiding supernatural powers to let Lin Fan control the lightning in her body. I think the principle may be similar. Why not give it a try? After all, others still need to guide and absorb, but she has it ready. Just practice controlling and sending it out. It's a good opportunity to test whether the tutorial they compiled is useful. But her body meridians are different from those of supernatural people. Zuping hesitated. Supernatural people rely on the affinity of their bodies and meridians to store element. Lin Fan has 3 non-contacts, but he has a sea of lightning hidden in an unknown part of his body. Can it be the same? Different, but who can be sure that there is only one way to practice? After all, Mr. Kyan, the eldest brother and the 1000-year-old master all have their own ways. Kuan Yin Dang is worthy of being a developer. His mind is very active. It doesn't cost much to try. Even if it doesn't work, it's just a failure. Everyone was silent, thinking about the possibility of this proposal. Xiaolin, what do you think? Zhu Kunjin thought it might work, but he still gave the decision to Lin Fan. Lin Fan thought for a while and asked, will it cause you to go crazy? Ha ha ha. This question made Zhu Kunjin laugh. No, your lightning is like a plug-in. It doesn't travel through your body, so how can the meridians go backwards and cause you to go crazy? Kuan Yin Dang laughed. At most, it's a matter of whether you can control it successfully or not. It's a waste of effort. You won't go crazy, don't worry. Lin Fan thought about it, and it seemed to be the truth. He no longer hesitated. Okay, I'll try it. Thinking that if he could succeed, he would be like Whitesnake one day, pointing his finger, and a spark would appear in the distance, crackling. It was still a bit cool. Magic attack, wow. Although the principles are different, the results are similar. Lin Fan was very happy and quickly accepted the new learning content. Okay. Zhu Kunjin made the decision. Let's give it a try. We don't have a thunder type supernatural person, right? Seeing Kwan Yingdong shaking his head, ZHU Kunjin pondered for a moment. Then I'll see who is suitable to teach. Kwan Yingdong said to let Lin Fan try the new teaching materials, but ZHU Kunjin didn't dare to let her really learn from the materials. Not to mention that she might go astray. Without a teacher's guidance, novices in new fields are likely to take teachers. ZHU Kunjin emphasized a few things at the end and announced the adjournment of the meeting. Zhang Cheng wanted to talk to Lin Fan, but was called away by Ban Hei. Kwan Yingdong was recently using new materials from Grow to reforge weapons for Lin Fan, so he left without staying. But Zhu Ping seemed to have nothing to do and walked over leisurely. Looking at his appearance, Lin Fan couldn't help but think of how he looked like a good boy after being poisoned by the ugly woman, and tried hard not to laugh out loud. You're good this time. You can do magic and martial arts. Cold and hot, far and near. Zhu Ping's tone was hard to tell whether it was envy or jealousy, but he knew that he would never catch up in this life anyway. Lin Fan was stunned for a moment before he understood what he meant. Isn't that right? Xingqian's defense is basically invincible, and the detachable spear can attack and defend. With the energy cannon, it is really invincible at any distance, hot or cold. Now if the thunder and lightning can be tamed by her, and she can hit wherever she points, then she is really a complete magic and martial arts. Zhu Ping saw that Lin Fan was stunned and didn't look happy, so he asked curiously, I thought you would be happy. Isn't it a happy thing to be strong? Lin Fan frowned slightly, shook his head with his hands on his chest. I always feel that too much power is not a good thing. Such a powerful ability, it can't be for show, right? Zhu Ping thought of the previous Grow battle and was silent. Xingqian's strength seems to be a good thing, but it also seems to be a harbinger of more. Ah. Someone is squatting in the grocery store. Wang Fengfeng, who was cleaning up the laptop line, suddenly shouted. What? Lin Fan and Zhu Ping shouted in unison and walked over quickly. Look. They just squatted. Wang Fengfeng's mobile phone contained a grocery store shopping receipt. Did you mention the Chaos Pearl? Lin Fan was thinking about the Chaos Pearl. If he got the Chaos Pearl now, would Mr. Khan be able to recover soon? No chance. Zhu Ping saw the date on it with his sharp eyes. It's from last year. Wang Fengfeng frowned and enlarged the picture when he heard it. When he saw the date on the upper right corner, his face fell. Ah. Lin Fan didn't believe it, so she leaned over to take a look. It was indeed from August last year. It had been nearly a year since she entered the grocery store. They had said before that it was impossible for an item to remain unsold in a grocery store for more than half a year. Lin Fan sat down on the chair and began to regret that she had not made a move at the beginning, otherwise there would be no such thing now. Another message popped up on Wang Fengfeng's phone. He and Zhu Ping read it and said, the colleague who went in told Sun Mo that we want the Chaos Pearl and asked her to keep an eye out for it, if there is any. Is it possible that the Chaos Pearl that Lin Fan saw last time was the one they asked Sun Mo to keep? Zhu Ping suddenly slapped his thigh. Lin Fan straightened up. They entered the store last year and asked Sun Mo to keep an eye out for the Chaos Pearl. After the grocery store received the pearls, you entered again this year, but Lin Fan didn't know about the Chaos Pearls yet, and Sun Mo didn't know that we wanted them, so the Chaos Pearls that Lin Fan missed are actually what we want. Wang Fengfeng continued. If this is really the cause and effect, that's simply incredible. Lin Fan sat in a daze on the chair, still unable to figure out why Sun Mo's grocery store time was jumping around, just like she didn't understand that a long time had passed in the small dark room, but only a dozen minutes outside. It's okay, it's okay. Finally, Wang Fengfeng saw Lin Fan's absent-minded look and quickly winked at Zhu Ping. Aren't you already squatting in the grocery store? There must be another chance later. There will be another chance. Yes, yes, yes. There are quite a few people in our institute who can enter the grocery store every year, so there are still many opportunities, so don't worry about it. Zhu Ping also agreed. Lin Fan pulled the corner of his mouth and revealed a faint bitter smile. There really isn't a regret pill in this world. Ah, no, Sun Mo store has some. How about asking the person who goes in to buy a regret pill so that she can try again? Chapter 687. There is no regret medicine in the world. Wang Fengfeng and the others shook their heads after hearing Lin Fan's idea. Why? Didn't they say that the things in the grocery store are authentic? Lin Fan was a little anxious. She felt that this was the best way. The Chaos Pearl was hard to find, but she remembered that the regret medicine was on the outermost shelf, a full bottle. It's authentic, but are you sure that, after taking the regret medicine, you will go back to the night you went to the grocery store? Zuping lifted the collar of his cloak. Are you sure that the thing you regret most is not buying the Chaos Pearl for Mr. Khan? Lin Fan opened her mouth subconsciously, but stopped again. She seemed to regret a lot of things. For the recent one, Xingqian didn't upgrade earlier. When Song Ren was injured, she seemed to be not far away, but she knew nothing. When Gro attacked for the first time, she didn't take action earlier. When fighting against the green turtle, she didn't upgrade to the complete form, which made her suffer in vain. Going further, she didn't control her emotions well, and let herself fall into the abyss of negative emotions. Although she turned into a star in the end, she had thought that, if she had to do it again, she would definitely avoid the painful process. There was also the emotional confrontation with Lin's mother. Giving money to Lin's mother made her lose all the family assets. Going back, there was also that unsuccessful relationship. And she didn't study hard in high school, didn't get into a better university, and so on. She didn't want to notice it, but when she thought about it carefully, she found that there were so many things in her past life that she wanted to regret. Kyan Leo's Chaos Pearl was just one of them. So Zuping was right. She couldn't be sure when she would return after taking the regret pill. If she became smaller all of a sudden and then grew up again after decades, even if she still followed the path of this life, would she definitely become a star again? Come to the special affairs office and get to know everyone? Or would everything change? The flapping of a small butterfly in Siberia can cause a hurricane. If the result is not as she expected, will she have to take the regret pill again? Will she forget all these original intentions after a long time? It's okay, it's okay. Zuping patted Lin Fan's shoulder like a caring elder brother. The regret pill only gives people a chance to choose again, and it doesn't guarantee that it will be a good result. Let's not bet on that possibility. Yes, we in the Special Affairs Office still believe in cause and effect and fate. If it doesn't work this time, it proves that the time is not right. You can't force it. Don't worry. Wang Fengfeng also came over to comfort him. If all the regrets in this world can be redeemed with just a pill, then where would there be so many regrets? Zuping spread his hands behind the back of the chair and sighed deeply. Wang Fengfeng leaned close to Lin Fan's ear and whispered, he must regret the time he flirted with the ugly girl. Zuping looked at Wang Fengfeng with an unexpected expression. Wang Fengfeng immediately raised his hands in surrender. Okay, it's my fault, brother, I was too talkative. I'll treat you to a meal and apologize. Zuping didn't care. He stood up proudly and brushed his trouser legs. You said so. I want to eat the deluxe set meal. Okay, I said so. I'll treat you. Wang Fengfeng replied flatteringly and stretched out his hand to pull Lin Fan. Let's go and eat. I can't eat. Lin Fan had stood up, but when she thought about her fasting to test whether the self-circulation was successful, she collapsed again. Oh, right, I almost forgot. But it was impossible to leave Lin Fan here alone. They went to eat. Wang Fengfeng simply pulled him up. Let's go together. We'll eat and you watch. Is that human? In the end, Lin Fan still followed. Because there was nothing to do, and because of the information about the supernatural school, revealed by Zuping. It was just idle. At the beginning, she ate and drank a lot, and Wang Fengfeng and others watched her eat more than once or twice. Now it's just the other way around. That said, when she really sat in the cafeteria and watched the two of them eat, she still felt itchy in her heart. Normally, she didn't like eating that much, but if she really didn't eat, she would be a little addicted. She is already this old, and she still has a hidden rebellious gene. The chef in the cafeteria looked over here for a while, and seeing that Minister Lin didn't eat, he was worried that she had a physical problem. He also secretly asked Wang Fengfeng, who was responsible for paying the bill, and was relieved after getting an explanation. But then he became worried again. If Minister Lin doesn't eat, what will happen to their food selection? Zuping and Wang Fengfeng are both talkative. They let Lin Fan know a lot of new information while eating. The first is the preparation for the Academy of Supernatural Powers. During the time when she went to 800 to bombard, the first priority of the Special Affairs Office was to organize and plan the matters related to the Academy of Supernatural Powers. It is now in the final stage, and all relevant report documents have been submitted to the superiors. They are just waiting for approval to start recruiting. How are we going to recruit? Lin Fan asked curiously. It's an open audition. It's similar to the novels. There is a special instrument to test the elemental affinity. Those who are interested in applying will be tested, and those who pass will be recruited. The Special Service Department will be the executor of this measure, so Zuping knows more about it. So easy? Lin Fan was surprised. She thought she would have to take a written test and interview. How is it easy? Wang Fengfeng interrupted. Elemental affinity sounds simple, but there are people in our institute who originally don't have superpowers, including the two of us. You are you. It has nothing to do with me. Zuping denied it without any hesitation. Wang Fengfeng choked, but thinking that this meal was still an apology meal, he didn't insist and only talked about himself. Anyway, I tried it before, and I didn't feel any affinity. I guess I have no chance, he said, a little unhappy. After the protective cover was opened before, the spiritual power in the air increased, giving everyone the illusion that everyone could sense the practice. Now, after more than a month, those who should be calm have calmed down, and people like Wang Fengfeng who are more sober and rational have given up. Zuping actually did the test secretly, but he didn't admit the result. He always felt that he hadn't gotten started yet and didn't know the right way. He thought that, since he was close to the water tower, he could find some opportunities to try more, and he would eventually succeed. Anyway, because the spiritual energy is rising, it is good for cultivation. People with weak sensitivity can sense and absorb spiritual energy more easily, but those who are insulated are still insulated. There is still no change in this. Wang Fengfeng poked the dumplings in the bowl with chopsticks, as if poking his own heart. I thought everyone could cultivate immortality. Lin Fan felt a little regretful. I can already see a scene of flying swords in the sky. Ha 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 ha. Everyone cultivates immortality. Zuping laughed. No novels dare not write like this, right? That's true. Lin Fan smiled. Individual differences exist everywhere. If everyone can cultivate immortality, who will do scientific research? If all the mecha builders go to cultivate immortality, mechanical technology will stagnate again, right? Yes, your point is correct. Zuping nodded. If everything can be accomplished with the help of fantasy methods, then scientific methods will inevitably stagnate and lag behind. This is not the result we want. Although Kain Leo almost sent Grow away with one move, there has only been one Kain Leo for so many years. Most of the forces that fought against Grow in the early stage were mechanical forces, including Xingqian and Apollo. Although they are biological armors, they are also mechas. Since they are mechas, they also belong to the power of mechanical technology. Of course, fantasy methods also work, but judging from the current development of Langsing, neither technology nor fantasy has developed to the extreme. If you want to take one, it is better to take both. I think cyber cultivation is pretty good. Lin Fan habitually reached out to touch the coke on the table, then remembered that it was not for him, so he silently retracted his hand. Wang Fengfeng didn't notice, and Zuping pretended not to see it and yelled. Anyway, I don't care. I can definitely cultivate, and I will definitely find the way faster than John Woo. What does it have to do with me? When everyone was about to arrive, John Woo's voice came. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 688, Jin Sichin's Revenge. Lin Fan looked back and was shocked by Wu Yusen's embarrassed appearance. What are you doing? She hesitated and thought for a while. Did you get robbed? Wu Yusen usually wore his clothes neatly, no matter how casual he was. Unlike Zuping, His collar was open to his chest, and he tucked it into his pants while hanging outside, which was a casual look. But now, his clothes were wrinkled and dirty, as if he was squeezing with old men and women in the morning market to grab discounted eggs. But he didn't get them, and got a head full of chicken feathers. Wang Fengfeng also saw it, and immediately thought of Wu Yusen's appearance when he went as Yu Gang to look for someone, and was squeezed out of shape. Is there so much traffic recently? Wang Fengfeng stood up and recalled. It seems not. Zhu Ping smiled with his hands folded, looking gloating. Don't mention it. Wu Yusen walked over and sat next to Lin Fan. Lin Fan really saw a fluff stuck in his hair. He reached out to pick it off and couldn't tell whether it was chicken feathers or duck feathers. Zhu Ping laughed and pushed the drink at hand over. No. Thank you. Wu Yusen was really thirsty, so he opened the lid and drank half a cup in one breath, then asked Lin Fan, why don't you eat? Lin Fan told him about the fasting, and Wu Yusen nodded to show that he understood. Lin Fan asked him what was going on. What else could it be? Think about who he went with. Zhu Ping's smiling eyes showed the joy of watching a good show. Jin Sichen? Lin Fan blinked. What did he do to you? Boing hard. Wang Fengfeng's eyes lit up, and he stood up excitedly. Before he finished speaking, Wu Yusen pushed him down, and didn't dare to continue talking nonsense. Lin Fan understood, and looked at Wu Yusen with the expression of an old man on the subway looking at his phone. You too? She didn't discriminate against same-sex relationships, but these two people were incoherent, and didn't show any signs. Listen to his nonsense. Wu Yusen smiled bitterly, and took the time to glare at Wang Fengfeng, but only saw his black head. It must have been Jin Sichen who did it to him. Zhu Ping seemed to be kind-hearted, but in fact he was gloating over his misfortune. With our Wu-Tez ability, ordinary people can't get any good results in his hands, and Jin Sichen doesn't count. How do you know? Lin Fan turned his head to look at Zhu Ping, and saw that he looked embarrassed, and suddenly shut up. Why else? Wu Yusen laughed heartily this time. It's because he has experienced it himself. The eldest brother doesn't laugh at the second brother. You are exposing your own past. You have also been tricked by Jin Sichen? Lin Fan didn't understand. Why? Humph. Zhu Ping crossed his arms proudly and shook his legs. Jin Sichen is so petty. Does he need a reason to be tricked by him? Brother, stop shaking. The table is shaking. Wang Fengfeng, who was concentrating on the table, quickly pulled him back. This kind of conjoined seat, if one person shakes, the four people on the table will shake together, and he has to use eating as a cover to eavesdrop openly. Zhu Ping's emotions were interrupted, and he rolled his eyes at Wang Fengfeng in annoyance, but he didn't continue to shake. Don't you need a reason? Lin Fan was confused. Jin Sichen is not such a crazy person, right? Ha, you use this adjective well. He is just crazy. Zhu Ping laughed and stretched out his hand to slam the table. Are you sure Jin Sichen can't hear you saying this? Wu Yusen said lightly, so that his palm did not fall, and he looked around. After making sure that Jin Sichen was not nearby, he breathed a sigh of relief. When he turned back, Lin Fan was looking at him eagerly, and his old face suddenly blushed. Well, I'm that. Why are you looking at me? Isn't this talking about Wu Yusen? Even if Lin Fan was slow, he could see that Zhu Ping was a little angry and embarrassed. He quickly turned to Wu Yusen and asked him what was going on. Maybe I offended him somewhere and was retaliated. Wu Yusen was calm. He also reacted afterwards. After thinking about it, it should be that Jin Sichen was slandered by Lin Fan 2 days ago, and he said something extra. They lived together in 800, so they knew how long Jin Sichen had spent to dress up that morning. But it was ruined by Lin Fan. He couldn't do anything to Lin Fan, so he could only be angry at himself. Wu Yusen smiled bitterly. As a guide, he suffered for Lin Fan, so it was not an unprovoked disaster. Lin Fan wanted to ask what Jin Sichen had done to him, but when he saw Wu Yusen's expression and thought of the feathers of some unknown poultry on his head, he couldn't bear to ask. Although it was unimaginable, it was definitely not a good thing. How did you offend Jin Sichen? She asked in a low voice. When did it happen? Wu Yusen smiled faintly and shook his head, not ready to say. Zhu Ping was not polite, and he talked about all kinds of revenge and embarrassment of people who had offended Jin Sichen intentionally or unintentionally in the past. It was nothing more than Jin Sichin using his talent to hypnotize people invisibly, making them do some embarrassing things in an unconscious state as revenge. The harm was not great, but it was a bit insulting. It was actually quite childish, but Jin Sichin never tired of it. And because there was no excessive actual harm, they couldn't really bother with Jin Sichin. They had to learn from their mistakes and stay away from him. So don't think that Jin Sichin looks like an expert, Zuping said, looking around, afraid that Jin Sichin would jump out from behind him. In fact, he is not a good person, with a sharp tongue, holding grudges, and is very bad. Lin Fan saw that Zuping was obviously poisoned by Jin Sichin, so he chose to nod obediently and heal the scars in his heart. Zuping knew that Lin Fan was not a talkative person, so he talked a lot and felt happy. Wang Fengfeng lowered his head and secretly added materials to his gossip notebook. After defeating Jin Sichin, they naturally talked about the ugly woman and Mr. Kian. Wu Yusen sent someone over, so he would naturally meet them. The ugly woman was still the same as before, looking high and mighty, and didn't like to talk to people. Mr. Kian was still soaking in the pool, and hadn't woken up. Zuping repeated the contents of the meeting to Wu Yusen, and emphasized that he wanted to learn with Lin Fan. You haven't even been able to feel the element yet, and you want to learn control, okay? Wu Yusen asked with narrowed eyes. TSK, do you think they will only teach from the control? Zuping raised his head. No matter whether Lin Fan has the aptitude or not, the teacher will definitely teach from the basics. What's wrong with me listening, by the way? The teacher that ZHU Kunjin found for Lin Fan must be the most capable one, and if he goes to the class, maybe he can get started. This is Zuping's idea. Wu Yusen nodded silently. Okay, I'll come too. Seeing Zuping's eyes widened, with an unbelievable look, he smiled slightly. What's wrong? I want to accompany Lin Fan in the first place, and listen, by the way. Besides, I also want to try if I can practice. Zuping knew that Wu Yusen was a dog. If he wanted to practice, wouldn't he follow the normal procedures of the School of Supernatural Powers? Taking shortcuts from Lin Fan. Humph. But he himself also had such thoughts in mind. He couldn't accuse Wu Yusen from the moral high ground. He pursed his lips and enjoyed it. Anyway, even if Wu Yusen came with him, he would not be afraid. Zuping would definitely soar to the sky and leave Wu Yusen behind. Ha 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 ha. The villain in Zuping's heart put his hands on his waist and roared to the sky. It seemed that he had already seen himself become successful and famous, riding a flying sword, pointing at the mountains and rivers. Baozi gave me red envelopes again, and I spent a lot of money. Heh. Recently, when I was drinking milk tea and biting pearls, the filling of the upper molar was stuck off. I have to fill the tooth again. The last time I filled this hole, it was painful. Later, I couldn't use resin, and used glass iron. I often went to apply medicine, which also caused unexplained periodontal pain. I couldn't tell whether it was a tooth problem or a nerve problem. I couldn't see the problem. Now it has fallen off again. If I fill it, it may cause the unexplained pain that has finally subsided in the past few years to come back. If I don't fill it, this chewing tooth, with a big hole, is also a bit uncomfortable, and it always gets stuck. It's a dilemma. The dentist is so scary. I had to watch him tinkering in my mouth. When the electric drill sounded, I felt my skull ache. I couldn't move my mouth, even if I opened it wide. 55. I hope the filling goes well, doesn't hurt, and doesn't fall out. By the way, I have some advice for my baby. If it doesn't hurt, and doesn't affect your appearance, just ignore it. Once it's filled, it's easy to fall out. Not only is it expensive, but it's also painful. The tooth gets smaller every time it's filled. The pain for people like me who don't know the cause is even more unbearable. If time goes back, the thing I regret most in the past few years is filling my teeth. The cavities that didn't hurt before always hurt after the filling, and I couldn't find the cause. Isn't this asking for trouble? This incident almost made my obsessive compulsive disorder, which was not that serious, disappear. If it doesn't hurt, don't bother. I always dig a hole for myself. I'm a person who digs a hole for myself. Chapter 689, Keeping the Balance. The urgent ringing of the phone interrupted Zuping's sweet dream. He answered the phone with a smile, and his face gradually became serious. Even Wang Fengfeng felt the change in the atmosphere and raised his head. "What's wrong?" Wu Yusen asked. "It seems that Feng Chuang has been found." Zhu Ping's expression at the moment was very serious. "I'll go deal with it first." After saying that, he stood up and left neatly, and it was impossible to tell that he was just hugging his shoulders and smiling like a fangirl. "Feng Chuang hasn't been caught yet?" Lin Fan asked in disbelief. She knew earlier that Feng Chuang might be the key person who transmitted data to Grow and triggered the war. But that was before the war. Lin Fan also heard that the Special Affairs Office issued a first-level wanted order to search for him. But now it's March after the war, and she has long forgotten this person. Now suddenly she is told that the person has not been found. With the current tight net of each country, plus the various capabilities of the Special Affairs Office, not even one person can be found. Lin Fan has become interested in this Feng Chuang. Well, there has been no news, as if this person has never existed in the world. Wang Fengfeng finally found a chance to speak. "To be honest, Feng Chuang is a talent who has been hiding from us for so long without being discovered." Lin Fan didn't know whether he was a talent or not, but she was sure that Feng Chuang was real. Suddenly remembering the other person who appeared with him, she almost jumped up from the chair. The one who was with him. It had been a long time, and she couldn't remember the name for a while, so she gestured with her fingers. "You mean Luan?" Wu Yusen understood it all at once and continued. "We have been keeping an eye on him since we found him, and it seems that there is no problem at present. But he seemed to have a close relationship with Feng Chuang before." Lin Fan thought about the two people exploring in the same cave at the time. She felt it was unlikely that they were strangers traveling together. Although Feng Chuang left Luan alone to die, Wu Yusen later analyzed that there was another story behind it. As for what the story was, she still didn't know it to this day, and no one told her. "I don't know if it is unimportant, or it has not been found out. And I remember that, after punching through the hole in the skylight, the two sat very close to each other." Lin Fan recalled, tapping his chin. "There must be something that is not as simple as an ordinary blogger and photographer." Lin Fan was so sure, Wu Yusen naturally couldn't be unaware. It's just that some things are not up to them to decide. The subsequent supervision of these two people is in the hands of other units, and we can't rush to grab the work. Wang Fengfeng didn't have any concerns. His mouth always had no door handle. "Can't it be transferred to our institute?" Lin Fan frowned. "If other units can't find the results, you can't say that they are irresponsible. Maybe they are not capable enough, right? But you can't just wait like this until the end of time, right?" The director tried to negotiate, but was pushed back. Wang Fengfeng put his hand to his mouth and whispered. When he couldn't find Feng Chuang, Zhu Kunjin was in a bad mood. He thought about taking over the supervision of Luan and the other two, and letting the people from the Special Affairs Office take over. But business dealings between units are not that simple. Zhu Kunjin had always been rushing around to grab resources in the same level units. This time, because of the outstanding performance of the Special Affairs Office, their unit was even more proud. In comparison, other units are much weaker. If they hand over the business in hand to Zhu Kunjin at this time, wouldn't that be helping others to slap their own faces? Of course not. Feng Chuang can't be found, so just give it to the Special Affairs Office. Luan is still doing well under their noses, and he is very obedient. How can they just let go? After all, it's a personal performance. What if a big vine is pulled out? Lin Fan heard the reason, and it was hard to explain. The old man doesn't care. How can he care? Wang Fengfeng had an expression of "this is what you don't understand. The palms and backs of the hands are all flesh." He is too biased towards the Special Affairs Office. Other units will also make trouble, right? As a leader, the best thing is to balance water. You, a commander without troops, don't understand anyway. Lin Fan suddenly wanted to be like Jin Sichen, give Wang Fengfeng a look, and let him do something embarrassing. But thinking about it, what the other person said was not wrong, and the dissatisfaction in my heart soon withdrew. The old man has too many things to worry about, especially at the moment. The alliance is in a mess, and he has to fight with some old guys. Naturally, he will not focus on a small figure like Luan. Wu Yusen explained more thoroughly. Lin is just a hidden danger, but compared with the current chaotic situation, he does not pose any crisis for the time being, so the old man will naturally not stir up conflicts among the internal brother units because of him. There is no need. Lin Fan felt that something was wrong. Didn't Feng Chuang get into trouble just because he didn't look at it well? If Feng Chuang hadn't sent a signal to grow, there might not have been so many troubles later. Wang Feng agreed with Wu Yusen. Yeah, look. Take this Feng Chuang. He wasn't found before, and he hasn't been found now. Oh, he has been found now, but the impact he caused? Well, it's a bit big, but isn't it under control? And, to put it bluntly, the current situation is also rare in a century, and it can't be achieved, even if you want to. Lin Fan didn't understand at first, but after thinking about it, he understood. If there hadn't been this attack by Gro, the situation on Langsing would have remained the same as before, with Old P pretending to be a good guy and being the boss, while Country H did good things quietly and made a fortune. Even after hundreds of fights, it was estimated that the situation would not have changed. But when Gro came, he turned the table over. The situation on Langsing had completely changed. The group that had been looking down on others with their noses up was crippled. Old P, although not crippled because of Apollo, was missing arms and legs, and now he dared not speak with his neck held high like before. Countless small states were almost overturned, and land, population, and food and clothing were all big problems. In other words, Country H was lucky, with Xingchen bearing the pressure from above, the Special Affairs Office supporting the bottom from behind, and finally the big boss came to the rescue and drove Gro away. In this way, while preserving its strength, it became the one who laughed last despite the heavy losses. During this period, Lin Fan didn't pay much attention, but Wu Yusen and the others knew it. The old man led the secret team to talk to the representatives of the G countries in the alliance, reasoning, showing strength, giving examples, showing strength, showing off, cough, showing strength. In short, by forcing a group of people to bow their heads voluntarily or not, H country rose straight up and wanted to take this opportunity to secure the position of the boss. But can these bastards in P country make things go so smoothly? Even if they can't resist, they will secretly use tricks and strategies to prevent things from going so smoothly. Even if there is an unknown alien visitor in the sky about to arrive, these shameless things will not care and continue to argue for interests. In this case, Lin, a small and potential crisis, will naturally not be taken seriously by the old man. Lin Fan felt a little complicated. She knew that these were all in line with the trend, and the current situation was indeed very good. But thinking of those who fell in a pool of blood, forget it, let's not think about it. She drooped her eyelids, and her thumbnail clasped her index finger lightly. The dead are gone, so let them rest in peace. Chapter 690 Death of Feng Chuang. Feng Chuang is dead. He died in a vacant property, and he was not the owner. In March, the weather gradually became hotter, and the neighbors smelled an abnormal odor, and they all felt that something was wrong. After a discussion, they called the police. The police broke into the house and found a tissue lying on the ground, which no longer looked like a human. After testing and comparing, they confirmed that it was Feng Chuang and sent a message to the Special Affairs Office. Zhu Ping took people to confirm and compared the DNA with the biological samples left at Feng Chuang's home. After confirming that they were consistent, the first level wanted order that had been posted online for nearly 3 months was revoked. Feng Chuang's household registration was also cancelled. Are you sure it was Feng Chuang? Still in the cafeteria, still with these few people. Lin Fan held the thermos cup and stared at Zhu Ping with a tired face and asked. He had been running around for Feng Chuang's affairs these days, and he had to clean up the aftermath. He was so busy that he didn't touch the ground until the matter was over and the report was submitted, and then he was pulled out by Wu Yusen to eat. You suspect it's not? Zhu Ping raised his eyelids. Lin Fan looked at Wu Yusen's encouraging eyes and continued. Is it possible? Oh. Zhu Ping showed his dissolute expression again, stopped eating, and leaned back in his chair. Tell me your reasons. I just feel that the death of a person who so many of you can't catch is too easy. Lin Fan thought about it, but couldn't find a suitable adjective, so he said it directly. Before she didn't know that Feng Chuang hadn't been caught, she didn't have this feeling. Knowing that he was hiding so well under such dense skies and had not been caught for several months, she felt that this person was really not simple. But then they said that this person was dead and had been dead for a long time. Quietly in an unknown house, Lin Fan couldn't help but start a conspiracy theory. What if this Feng Chuang you identified was a mystery he deliberately set up? Lin Fan continued to speculate. Zuping glanced at Wu Yusen, who was smiling but not saying anything next to him, and smiled at Lin Fan. Go on. Lin Fan was encouraged, and it was easier to speak. Aren't you comparing DNA with the biological samples in Feng Chuang's home? As far as I know, he has no father or mother and has been alone for so many years. If he intends to hide, is it possible that the biological samples in his home were prepared at the beginning and the Feng Chuang now is not the Feng Chuang we are looking for? Lin Fan actually didn't remember Feng Chuang's appearance very well, and it was only when she looked at the photos in the database that she deepened her impression. But she still remembered his extraordinary skills. At that time, she had not yet received training from Le Zheng Yunqing, but only received not so strict basic fighting training under Song Ren. Although it was only basic, it was after all Song Ren's subordinates, which was much higher than ordinary basic fighting. And seeing Song Ren and the other four fighting with real swords and guns every day, Lin Fan had some vision. Feng Chuang's skills are definitely not just an ordinary hobby or an excuse like practicing martial arts when he was young. You know, any skill will soon become unfamiliar once it cannot be repeated periodically. Especially now, when Lin Fan, who is proficient in cold weapons, recalls Feng Chuang's skills, he feels that they are not simple. Such a simple person died simply. Can Lin Fan be blamed for conspiracy theories? John Woo, you can do it. Zuping smiled, but he was not praising Lin Fan. Lin Fan was a little confused. Did she miss something? John Woo smiled and didn't answer the question, but talked to Lin Fan. You are right. We have the same idea. Lin Fan's eyes lit up. If the answer is correct, does it mean that her business ability has improved again? But as you said, if Feng Chuang prepared the biological samples in advance and deliberately guided us with the materials we currently have, there is really no way to find him again. What Lin Fan thought of, the old special agent naturally thought of it a long time ago. What is the relationship between Feng Chuang and Gro? How did he contact Gro? How did he receive Gro's information and send intelligence to Gro? These are all things they wanted to know from him, but with Feng Chuang's death, all these questions are hanging in the air, and no one knows. So we can only confirm the death of this Feng Chuang, but we can't be sure whether that Feng Chuang is dead or not. Zuping said it like a tongue twister, but everyone understood it. I also think that this guy won't die easily, but for the time being, there is really nothing we can do. The Feng Chuang in public has been cancelled. If he is not dead, he can use the trick to change his appearance. As long as his appearance is different from the Feng Chuang they know, he can completely blend in with the vast population of each country, and he doesn't even need to hide too much, and can walk out openly. You suspect that his face is not his real face? This question was something Lin Fan had not expected. If he originally planned to attract Gro, it wouldn't be strange to use a fake face, right? Zuping shrugged. Lin Fan nodded silently. We checked all the cosmetic surgery institutions in G, and no one like Feng Chuang has appeared in the past few months. So either Feng Chuang is really dead, or there is something wrong with his previous face. It is fake. Wu Yusen added. Human skin mask? Lin Fan suddenly had an idea. What are you thinking? Zuping laughed unceremoniously. You watched too many TV dramas? Lin Fan was a little embarrassed and smiled awkwardly. No, actually, there is. Wu Yusen rolled his eyes at Zuping and explained patiently, but it's like a layer of silicone skin. It's okay to look at from a distance, but not up close. Like Feng Chuang, who can make vivid expressions, even we can't see the flaws at close range. It's not the kind of human skin mask on TV. It should be a more advanced Macube technique. Huh? Lin Fan widened his eyes. Macube technique? Yes, you don't know yet? The three major evil arts in Asia. Zuping picked up the bowl, blew the chopped green onions on it, and drank a mouthful of soup. It seems to be PS plastic surgery, and Lin Fan thought about it, but couldn't think of it, so he looked at Wu Yusen for help. Well, if PS is also counted, then it is the 4 major evil arts. Wu Yusen laughed. There is also Art's X transformation, and Macup. Oh. Lin Fan seemed to understand, but he said he benefited a lot. The Smacup is not just about the daily powder and lipstick that you girls put on. Zooping said, you know the special effects Macup in Hollywood, right? Yeah. Lin Fan nodded. I know that. The kind of Lord of the Rings, zombies and so on. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. There are people on the internet who specialize in this kind of face-changing special effects Macup, imitating various celebrities and so on. We suspect that Feng Chuang knows this kind of high-end Macup, and he has been keeping this disguise in the early stage. The dead Feng Chuang may be a stranger, or maybe the real Feng Chuang, and the Feng Chuang who is playing hide and seek with them is imitating his appearance and using his identity to act outside. Lin Fan remembered Feng Chuang's identity as a photographer, and it seems that it is not so strange that he knows Macup. What should we do? If he is not dead, and if we take off his Macup, he will be a completely stranger. What if he does something bad again? Should we just let him do it? The DNA of the deceased Feng Chuang is the genes of the Langsing people, and no strange gene chain was detected. But they seriously suspected that the Feng Chuang who sent the message to Grow might not be a Langsing person. But everything can only be confirmed after Feng Chuang is caught. And can Feng Chuang still be caught? Another treasure reward. Muamua, the hot water angle valve under my kitchen sink is broken. It was not until the first floor called me and said that her house was leaking that I found out. I opened the cabinet and saw that there was no problem. I moved the things away and reached out to touch it. Wow, there was a lot of water, but I couldn't see the water dripping down. I shone a flashlight on it. Well, a thin strand of water like a hair was dripping out. I decisively closed the valve. Fortunately, the toilet angle valve broke last time, and I bought 2 faucets. Now I have the spare parts. As a result, the quality of the previous faucet was too poor, and I broke it. Then I spent a long time removing the broken one and replacing it with a new one. It was almost lunchtime, and I was in a hurry. As a result, when I woke up, I found water seeping in. I took it apart again and found a pack of raw tape to wrap it again. It seems to be okay now. By the way, I replaced the core in the water purifier, but I didn't tighten it properly. When I turned on the water valve, water sprayed everywhere. It was already past 4 PM when I was done. A whole morning and afternoon were gone, and my knees were broken. I suggest that my kids use good hardware at home, especially for concealed projects, angle valves, floor drains, etc. Do not use galvanized alloy materials. They have a short lifespan and are easy to break, which will only make you suffer. I'm tired and don't want to move. Don't leak. Amen. Chapter 691 Global Census. If Feng Chuang is really an alien Zerg disguised on Grow, then it is too scary for him to hide among the Langsing people. Will Grow make a comeback? Can he continue to contact Grow and report the various situations on Langsing to them? Considering all these, no one wants to keep such a bomb around. Let's not talk about Luan's current situation, but Feng Chuang has been exposed. If there is really a situation of escaping, they don't want to let this known clue out anyway. What should we do? Lin Fan was dumbfounded. If there is no clue at all, there is no way to find it, right? Even if it is to find a needle in a haystack, at least you have to know what the needle looks like, right? They clearly don't even know Feng Chuang's true appearance now. How can they find someone? Zooping made a tsk sound in his mouth and raised his index finger and shook it left and right in a pretentious manner. So I said the timing is right now. He smiled and gave Lin Fan a self-proclaimed handsome expression. After the establishment of the alliance, the newly adopted resolution includes a global population census. Because the population of each G is seriously deficient and the population of Langsing has dropped sharply, in order to thoroughly investigate the population distribution of each party and unify the allocation of several resources, the first global population census was proposed. Lin Fan blinked. His IQ was not online again. So what? This is not over yet. Zuping said again. The Supernatural Academy has been approved yesterday and is now in the preparation stage. Please note that it is a global Supernatural Academy. Lin Fan still didn't understand. Wu Yusen was too lazy to watch Zuping's popular science like squeezing toothpaste bit by bit and said directly. So the population census not only investigates the population size, gender, and place of residence, but also uses the excuse of the initial recruitment of the Supernatural Academy and the expansion of the Mecha Core to register DNA information. Oh my god. Lin Fan took a breath. What a big project this is. The blood test for all people has not been implemented, let alone DNA monitoring. But to be honest, if the DNA of all people can really be implemented, there will never be a situation where children cannot be found in the future. Lin Fan used to feel distressed when watching those videos of lost children, but he could do nothing about it. Although the implementation of this policy requires a lot of manpower, in the long run, the benefits outweigh the disadvantages. Isn't it? Zuping hummed with a toothpick in his mouth, but it works. After the test is completed, a new alliance certification ID will be issued. Unless Feng Chuang wants to be an illegal resident, he will be skinned alive. All new alliance welfare policies must be obtained with a new ID. If you want to be an illegal resident. Wu Yusen smiled and shook his head. It's basically impossible. But have you ever thought about what if Feng Chuang is either an alien or a Langsing person? Lin Fan asked again. Then we won't be able to find out anything, right? Zuping shrugged. Then there's nothing we can do. We just do what we should do and leave the rest to God. Lin Fan looked at his sloppy appearance and found it hard to imagine that he was a gold medal special agent of the Special Affairs Office. John Woo patted her shoulder. Don't worry, if Feng Chuang is really not dead, he will definitely reveal his identity. Even if he is from Langsing, he will be exposed. Maybe we can find a few more Mecha men. Lin Fan's mind was suddenly drawn there. You still have this plan? So we need to conduct a nationwide screening. No matter what kind of gods or ghosts they are, bring them all out for a walk first. Zuping had a playful look on his face again. The appearance of Grow and the situation of your Mecha men make us wonder if there are other alien creatures on Langsing. Aren't they common in P country movies? Superman, Transformers, Magnet King and the like. Let's check them all out this time. No one can hide them anymore. P country should not have these, Lin Fan said doubtfully. If so, why didn't they come out when we fought Grow? But it's hard to say. After all, Green Turtle is also a Mecha man. There are 3 of them now, so there may be 4, 5, or 6. As she spoke, she crossed her arms across her chest, looking a little worried. Antonio's personality is pretty good anyway, and he's communicative. What if there's another Mecha man like Green Turtle? That would be terrible. But she couldn't just worry about it. Lin Fan decided not to think about it. Things will work out when the time comes. Don't look for trouble, focus on unfounded things, and waste your energy on internal energy. She took the opportunity to ask Zuping about Song Ren's situation and whether he knew any good way to speed up recovery. Zuping naturally didn't know. Lin Fan sighed. She had asked everyone she should ask, and she had also looked for ZHU Kunjin. ZHU Kunjin called the Kaiensu boss in front of her. The Kaiensu boss said that if you want to recover quickly, why not try to graft a monster's body? Monsters have strong bodies, much stronger than humans, and they recover quickly, so they are very useful. Lin Fan was a little confused when she heard it and asked about how to do it and whether the success rate was high. After getting the answer, it is hard to say the success rate, but if it succeeds, Song Ren will become a half-orc. Lin Fan thought about it for a long time and sought ZHU Kunjin's opinion. He felt that this operation should not be tried unless it was absolutely necessary. Thinking about Song Ren turning into a human head and an unknown animal's body, it feels very weird. Will Song Ren be happy? Not necessarily. At that time, will Song Ren still be Song Ren? What's more, the success rate is not guaranteed. It is better to do it slowly, at least it will still be a complete Song Ren. After discussing with Wu Yusen, Lin Fan decided not to tell Song Ren about this situation for the time being, so as not to stimulate him anymore. Conservative treatment is also a treatment method. It's only been 2 or 3 months, don't worry. Lin Fan who couldn't find a good way, could only put his hope on Jin Sichin again. I hope that the ugly woman can find a way. Jin Sichin quickly gave her an answer. There is no way for the ugly woman, but there should be medical consultation in the world tree. But the problem is that the current medical level of Langsing is still nonsense. Then, Lin Fan decided to put this matter aside for now. If she continued, she might get anxious. Wait for a while and look back. Maybe there will be a good way. Fate is a strange thing. You can't find it when you want to find it, but it will come to you when you don't want to find it. Lin Fan didn't believe that Song Ren's fate ended like this, so the Shining People shouldn't have only such an ending. Soon, she didn't have time to think about these things. The teacher Zhu Kunjin found for her came to give her a systematic course on element control. For the first class, Lin Fan was quite curious and dressed up specially. She took out the expensive cosmetics that were about to expire and applied them on her face. She used water to smooth down her short hair that had grown long and always tended to curl up after waking up. She wore an antique dress and went out. Of course, Wu Yusen accompanied him, and Zhu Ping also followed shamelessly, saying that he was giving Lin Fan courage. When they arrived, they knocked on the door politely. The teacher was a fat old lady wearing a white Teikai suit, as if when the time came, she would take a Teikai sword or a red fan to the square to start exercising. He was ordinary and could not be seen as a superpower. But Zhu Ping told Lin Fan in advance that this was the most proficient element control person in the institute besides a few big guys. It is true that you cannot judge a person by his appearance, and you cannot measure the depth of a sea by a bucket. Lin Fan and the other two obediently called for people. The element control class began. I still dismantled it and started over. Although there was no water dripping from the replacement yesterday, the interface felt wet when I touched it. I stuffed a paper towel in the interface, and it was damp when I got up in the morning. It is still leaking, even if it is small. Wouldn't it be more troublesome if it breaks again when the weather gets cold? So I dismantled it again. I wrapped it with 27 turns of raw tape and it almost didn't fit in. I suspect that the interface in the wall is too big. Usually, there is basically no problem with wrapping it 10 times. Is this opening abnormal? I twisted it to the end with my hand, and the wrench can only tighten half a turn before it gets stuck. But no matter what, I still have to solve the problem. I really have to keep an eye on water and electricity engineering. When I was renovating, the workers replaced a lot of wires and floor drains. The worker was my father's comrade in arms brother, and he didn't do his job properly. I couldn't say anything. The hardware broke down every once in a while. I had to replace the neutral and live wires by myself. The 4 buttons on the bathroom heater switch didn't have a function that matched the words on them. They were so careless. You guys must learn from this when you renovate. Chapter 692. Introduction to Cultivation. Lin Fan chose liberal arts in high school. She studied art in college. Her biggest entertainment after work was reading novels. But at this moment, she suddenly had strong doubts about her education level. The teacher was very nice, kind and gentle, but Lin Fan could hardly understand what she said. The first 2 sentences were okay. Qi sinks into Danshan, embraces the origin and guards the ownness. As for Danshan, Lin Fan knew that it was a little above the belly button, 2 or 3 fingers wide, anyway, rounded up to the belly button. Although she didn't know how to sink the key into the belly button, at least she knew it was like this. But embrace the origin and guard the ownness. She knew every word, but she didn't understand it when they were put together. What was this all about? Lin Fan was like listening to a book from heaven. Babble, 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 and she almost fell asleep. This is too wrong. A strong sense of shame suddenly swept over her body. Zhu Kunjin specially found the best teacher to teach her, but she wanted to sleep. Lin Fan secretly opened her eyes a crack. Look at Wu Yusen on the left. Well, he seems to be very engaged with his eyes closed. Look at the unreliable Zhu Ping on the right. He is also upright, with a solemn expression, as if he is very engaged. So she is the poor student? Lin Fan wanted to cry, but had no tears. At middle age, she still had to accept the fact that she was incompetent in learning. It was too depressing, right? Lin Fan's eyes rolled around, and her mind was busy. The teacher had not spoken for a long time, and she didn't know what she was doing. She quietly lifted her eyelids a little wider, wanting to see what the teacher was doing, but she looked directly into the old lady's round eyes. This was embarrassing. It was like a poor student being caught sleeping by the teacher. Lin Fan forced a smile, but didn't dare to say anything, for fear of disturbing the two top students on the left and right. The teacher was still smiling, without criticizing her, and didn't seem unhappy at all. ZHU Kunjin had explained Lin Fan's situation clearly when he assigned the task to the teacher. Without bones, he couldn't sense elemental spiritual power, and his comprehension, well, average. The teacher also knew that Lin Fan was a Mecha man, and that he was mainly learning the element control techniques. She taught the basics of element and the methods of breathing and induction, and she also taught from the basics as usual. Besides, there were two people beside her. She didn't intend to teach Lin Fan the basics of cultivation, so the teacher had expected that Lin Fan would be absent and unable to comprehend. On the contrary, if Lin Fan really got into the door, just by listening to her 2 sentences, the teacher would be upset. How could all good things fall on one person, right? Xingqian is already very strong. If he can be close to element, wear a mecha, and practice, then is there any need for human life? So Lin Fan didn't understand, and opened his stupid, but clear big eyes. The teacher was very relieved and felt happy. As for Wu Yusen and Zuping, after all, they have been in the special office for a long time, and they have been exposed to many fantasy things and spells. It is normal for them to feel something when they hear the guidance. And Lin Fan grinned, with a flattering smile on his face, but he didn't say anything, obviously not wanting to disturb the 2 people who were in meditation beside him. The teacher had a real understanding of this rumored Mecha minister. Regardless of his ability, at least his character is acceptable. The teacher didn't look at Lin Fan for too long. After a while, he crossed his legs and closed his eyes, entering a state of meditation. There were 4 people in the room, and only Lin Fan had his eyes wide open, not knowing what to do. He looked at this, then looked at that, took out his mobile phone, and played small games on mute. Time always flies when playing games. Lin Fan was concentrating on breaking through the levels, and a hand was waving in front of her. Looking up, Wu Yusen got up. Lin Fan was delighted, and secretly turned off the phone. Just as he was about to speak, he remembered that there was an old monk in meditation next to him. Looking back, Zuping also opened his eyes. How are you? Did you feel anything? Just because she was a scumbag didn't mean that others couldn't. Lin Fan still hoped that these 2 people could practice and one day be as powerful as Master Kyan. I feel a little bit. I need to try again. Wu Yusen still smiled gently. What about you? Why are you playing games? Hey. Don't mention it. I didn't even understand what you said. I was born without this fate. Didn't Mr. Khan say that? Lin Fan didn't mind at all, and turned back to ask Zuping, what about you? Do you feel anything? Zuping's expression was neither good nor bad, and he snorted vaguely. Lin Fan didn't hear clearly, so he asked again. Almost. Zuping finally broke down, staring at her, gritting his teeth and said. Lin Fan reacted for a while before understanding. Just don't feel it? If you don't have it, then you don't have it. Why are you angry? I don't have it either. Zuping fell backwards. Can he compare with Lin Fan? Lin Fan has stars and countless thunder and lightning power. What does he have? His romantic appearance is useless in front of strength. And Wu Yusen has sensed it. He obviously made preparations before him. Why is he still one step behind? Could it be? No, he must have talent. The teacher opened his eyes and said with a smile that, unless someone with strong natural inspiration can quickly get started, it will take a long time to succeed in sensing element. It is not something that can be done overnight. After listening to this, Zuping's face became better again. He gave himself chicken soup and decided to continue to persevere. So in the next few days, Lin Fan accompanied Wu Yusen and Zuping to listen to the basic theory class. After the basic theory was finished, Wu Yusen could clearly sense the spiritual energy. He was overjoyed, which proved that he could embark on the path of cultivation. Zuping's mood was uncertain. He still didn't sense anything. Compared with Wu Yusen's situation, his mood was terrible. The idea of persistence and giving up kept switching in his mind, but he couldn't settle down. Even Lin Fan didn't dare to speak carelessly, for fear of irritating him. After all, Lin Fan had witnessed his efforts for so many days. In the end, it was the teacher who spoke. Wu Yusen is a relatively talented person. Although he lacks innate inspiration, his talent makes up for it to a certain extent. If he practices properly in the later stage, there will not be much difference. Zooping's situation is relatively common. Most people give up, but there are a few who persist and finally get what they want. So whether to continue or not depends on him. Zooping was depressed all night and dragged Lin Fan and Wu Yusen out to drink. He drank, and the two watched from the side. In the end, he got drunk and went crazy, screaming, and flirted with girls in the bar, and was dragged away by Wu Yusen. Lin Fan thought Zooping should give up, but he saw him go there again the next day. He looked so shameless that he could not see the fragile little look of the day before. Okay, Lin Fan smiled. It's better than being sad. It is said that hard work pays off, and the teacher also said that if you persist, some people will succeed. If you don't persist, you will naturally have no chance of success. Lin Fan always felt that Zooping was a slacker, and the incident of provoking a female clown before was the best proof. But this time, he had a completely different opinion of him. Think about it, being a gold medal special agent is not something that a playboy with no ability and only good mouth can do. So, as the saying goes, stereotypes kill people. From then on, Lin Fan no longer judged people by his subjective impressions. As for Zooping, until Lin Fan left Lansing, he had not yet touched the threshold of cultivation, and he never gave up. Chapter 693 Electrocute Yourself. Compared to the theory class that was incomprehensible, and like chanting sutras, the practical class was more friendly to Lin Fan. Her lightning was hidden somewhere in her body, and she just needed to learn to mobilize it and control it. I don't know if she had ever tried it in actual combat, but Lin Fan felt that mobilizing the lightning in her body seemed easier than she thought. She was resistant to electricity, so she was fearless, but others didn't dare. Seeing her standing there, the arcs around her body crackled, and the teacher didn't dare to get close. The first time Lin Fan tried to mobilize the current in her body, she couldn't control it, and almost broke the circuit of the trial field. Fortunately, ZHU Kunjin was well prepared, and the passive defense of the barrier was open to protect the territory and the people present. So the teaching became Lin Fan alone in the field, and the teacher and two tutors watched outside the barrier. The practical class was not so friendly to Wu Yusen, who had just sensed the spiritual power, and Zooping, who couldn't feel anything. However, as mature tutors, they naturally knew that the current course was centered on Lin Fan, and they would learn as much as they could. When they need it, they can go to the School of Supernatural Powers and learn it slowly. Now it is considered as learning in advance, and it does not delay anything. Moreover, watching Lin Fan's control process, whether it is right or wrong, is also a learning process for them. As soon as the practical class came, the teacher felt that Lin Fan was different from before. If Lin Fan was a college scumbag in the previous theory class, the kind that could not even hold a bag, then in the practical class, she can be regarded as a rare genius. I don't know if it has anything to do with her mecha body. Maybe these strange things have been integrated with her. She has long been accustomed to these foreign objects that are different from flesh and blood. The control of lightning is much more proficient than she thought. That's right. When I was Electrogrow small spaceships, I took the opportunity to practice a lot. Lin Fan smiled. Now when she mentioned those things before, it seemed that she could mention them calmly, no longer so bitter and resentful. No wonder you are very proficient in controlling the size of the current. The teacher nodded with a smile. I won't test you on the maximum power, because I'm afraid that my salary will not be enough to compensate the institute. How small can you control the minimum electric shock damage? The smallest? Lin Fan thought about it, turned her palm up, and soon a bunch of flashing arcs appeared in her palm, and finally squeezed, and turned into a fist-sized dazzling ball. Like this? She looked at the teacher uncertainly. Before, I always discharged electricity with the purpose of killing, and the smallest. I really haven't tried it. Can it be smaller? The teacher continued to ask with a smile. Lin Fan focused her eyes on the palm of her hand and tried to continue to compress the crackling ball of light until it became a ping pong ball sized, dazzling ball that was difficult to look at directly. At this time, Lin Fan was already sweating and her brows were furrowed and it was obvious that she was struggling. But the teacher shook her head, indicating that it was not possible. What if it is smaller? Lin Fan trembled as soon as she opened her mouth. No, teacher, I don't feel I can compress it anymore. Well, the teacher nodded. Then you take it back. Wu Yusen and Zhu Ping's faces changed, and they looked at Lin Fan who was still confused. She said blankly, take it back. How can I take it back? Lin Fan always used discharge as an outward attack tactic, and never thought of taking it back. This electric ball, that had been compressed several times, looked only the size of a ping pong ball, but looking at Lin Fan's expression, it was clear that the amount of electricity was actually quite large, and it was no problem to destroy a small grow aircraft. It was obvious that the power of the energy after repeated compression would definitely be several times greater than that of the energy without compression. With such strong energy, Lin Fan wondered if she would explode the Sea of Thunder if she took it back directly, but it was not okay to just keep it in her palm. Controlling its compressed form almost consumed all her strength. She was now trembling all over, and she could hardly control the electric ball. Lin Fan was in a dilemma, thinking whether to release the electric ball first and then try to take it back again from the small amount of electricity later. At this time, the smiling old lady pressed the button and closed the barrier. Lin Fan almost threw the ball in his hand out, but he pulled it back. Both Wu Yusen and Zhu Ping's faces changed, but looking at the teacher who was still smiling, they closed their mouths and said nothing. Minister Lin, the old lady kept smiling, but her words seemed to pierce Lin Fan's heart. Now, please take back the energy ball in your hand. It was an order and a threat. If Lin Fan didn't take it back, and it exploded in this situation, Wu Yusen and the other two would face such a strong energy. The teacher couldn't say, but Wu Yusen and Zhu Ping had no chance of rescue under the power that could explode a small spaceship. Lin Fan's whole body was trembling, and she couldn't tell whether she was exhausted or afraid. Those who always have a smile on their faces are not good people. She cursed in her heart and began to try to make a fist, trying to press the electric ball in her hand back into the Sea of Thunder that didn't know where in her body it was. Minister Lin, don't be afraid, be brave. The teacher was still clapping and encouraging with a smile, but Lin Fan no longer felt that she was kind. Your body is lightning resistant, don't be afraid. You survived millions of purple lightnings. This little electricity can just be used to sprinkle water. The old lady dragged out the last word, as if to comfort him, but Lin Fan thought of bad memories in his mind. She didn't want to recall how she was beaten by Sister Zhu's lightning array. If it weren't for her good luck, the star's ability to repair, and the light of the world tree's energy, her grave would be covered with grass now. Yes, maybe she won't die, but she will still be sad. Lin Fan complained wildly in his heart, but he still had to press the penalty ball into his palm with force. In an instant, the swelling and numbness pierced directly from the metacarpal bone. The strong, burning foreign body sensation went up along the wrist bone and on Lin Fan's arm. It was like a no man's land, quickly passed between the radius and ulna and went up along the humerus, expanding everywhere, and finally fell to the heart. At that moment, Lin Fan seemed to experience the pain of electric shock again, and the whole person had no support and fell backwards. Wu Yusen and Zhu Ping ran over quickly, but they didn't dare to go forward. The electric arcs on Lin Fan's body had not disappeared. They knew that these electric arcs were powerful, and although they were worried, they couldn't help. Lin Fan covered her heart with both hands and rolled on the ground twice, feeling that she had a heart attack. After a long while, the pain gradually subsided, and she finally had the energy to take care of other things. Wu Yusen and Zhu Ping's eyes were nakedly worried. And the teacher was still smiling. If this person was not from the Special Envoy Institute, and ZHU Kunjin personally selected her as a teacher, she would suspect that this was a spy from Country P, or an undercover left by Gro, specifically to torture her and kill her. Lin Fan stared with a dead fish eye, lying on the ground, not wanting to move. Her whole body was numb and painful. Although the electric ball was retracted, it was more like she had hit herself. She didn't have a tendency to self-abuse, but she felt uncomfortable everywhere. She felt that her whole body was hollowed out again. This is good. It's time to eat. Chapter 694 Misses Me. Lin Fan hadn't eaten for several days. In the past few days, she really didn't take anything except water. After all, she was still a human being. She hadn't eaten or drunk anything for a long time, and her lips began to dry up. After Wu Yusen reported to ZHU Kunjin and asked when Lin Fan could drink water. However, water itself has little calories. Even if it enters Lin Fan's body and is converted into energy, it is a drop in the bucket compared to the daily energy consumption of the Mecha, and it can be almost ignored. Moreover, drinking water can relieve cravings. Wu Yusen specially prepared a thermos cup for her so that she could put something in her mouth and not always watch the meat. Today, it didn't work. Lin Fan finally found an excuse in the softness and let herself have a big meal. When she arrived, Lin Fan had already cleared the table and leaned back in the chair with satisfaction, touching his stomach and burping. Nothing. He received news that this person couldn't move, and he thought he had been disemboweled. It's okay now. Lin Fan saw Wenji running to the cafeteria to find her, and her face turned red. According to normal procedures, she should go to the medical department to check her body before talking about other things. Why did she come to the cafeteria first? Maybe she was possessed by a ghost. Wu Yusen and Zuping were guilty. One touched his nose and lowered his head to avoid, and the other found an excuse to run away. They were really scared at that time. Moreover, Lin Fan's pitiful appearance of being half dead and full of electric arcs made them soft-hearted for a while. When they came to their senses, Lin Fan had already eaten. At this point, what's the point of stopping him? Moreover, Lin Fan's physical and mental state looked good, which made them wonder if she was pretending to be in front of them and to gain sympathy. But they didn't expect Wenji to follow. After receiving the news, strictly speaking, it was their dereliction of duty. Wenji carefully looked at Lin Fan's expression and state, and then took her wrist to measure her pulse, and then he breathed a sigh of relief and sat on the chair next to him. It was the director who sent me a message saying that your teacher told him that you were electrocuted by yourself and couldn't move. She was worried that your body couldn't bear it and something else happened, so she asked me to intervene quickly. I thought it was nothing. Wenji immediately put down the things in his hands after receiving ZHU Kunjin's call and prepared to pick up the seriously injured Lin Fan. But he didn't come, no matter how long he waited. Could it be that something serious happened? Wenji had imagined all kinds of miserable conditions of Lin Fan and ways to intervene, and he came all the way worriedly, but he saw Lin Fan with a red face and burping. This psychological gap. That's because he is Wenji, who doesn't like to talk much. If he changed his shift, he would probably have been sprayed. She is worried about me? Lin Fan rolled his eyes. Why do I feel like she wants to kill me? It was not until Wu Yusen carried her out that she saw the old lady for the last time. She was still smiling, like Maitreya Buddha, and there was no sign of worry. Sure enough, those who smile are not good people. Lin Fan cursed inwardly and turned around to see Wu Yusen looking at him with a smile. Wu Yusen doesn't count. Oh. It seems that you don't have a good impression of the teacher. Wenji didn't usually chat with Lin Fan, but he also knew that Lin Fan was a bit of a good person and would not easily show her aggressiveness. Lin Fan didn't want to recall, because when she recalled, she felt pain in her body, and when she felt pain, she wanted to eat again. In fact, she had plenty of energy. She could feel it. This was a psychological need. She had to restrain herself. Wu Yusen would naturally not let Wenji's question fall through, and seeing Lin Fan drooping on the table, like a quail, he took the initiative to answer him. So radical? Wenji was also shocked. They were almost worshipping Lin Fan, and this teacher was so fierce right away. After asking again, oh, it was that one. That's normal. From this point of view, Lin Fan was indeed a weak and helpless little poor thing in her hands. Wenji didn't stay for long and asked Wu Yusen to take Lin Fan for a checkup later to prevent accidents. After sending the people away, Wu Yusen saw Lin Fan staring with big eyes, looking like he was asking for gossip, which was very funny. Don't you feel pain? He skillfully cleaned up the dishes on the table. Lin Fan also sat up and cleaned up. It still hurts when I think about it, but from what Dr. Wen said, the old lady is still a character. Wu Yusen glanced at her. How can an ordinary person be arranged to teach you? They must have saved the best for you. Otherwise, why do you think Zhu Ping shamelessly wants to take classes? Zhu Ping has been taking classes with them. But unlike Wu Yusen who can already contact spiritual power and Lin Fan who can control it with a thunder bag, he has nothing, and he persists with perseverance and thick skin. Lin Fan thought about the wording. Isn't he brave and forward looking? Wu Yusen said. What kind of description are you using? But what you said is not wrong. But if it were another teacher, Zhu Ping would definitely not be as brave and forward looking as he is now. Come on. Talk about it in detail. Lin Fan's gossip soul was activated. Unfortunately, Wang Fengfeng was not here, and the atmosphere was not warm enough. Wu Yusen put the water cup next to her and started talking about the old lady. The old lady's surname was Mi, and her name was Mi Jiao. Mi Jiao? Lin Fan wrinkled her nose. This name doesn't sound like an old lady's name. What you said, who hasn't been a young girl? Wu Yusen laughed. Jiao is a female word for Jiao, which describes a beautiful figure. There is also this word. Lin Fan rolled his eyes and thought about it. It seems that he has never used it. But thinking about the old lady, although fat, but round and smooth, kind, saying that she has a beautiful figure, it is not wrong to say it against one's conscience. In fact, Lin Fan had met old lady Mi several times before, and they just passed by, and nodded and smiled. She didn't know what the old lady did. Seeing her kind face, she was probably a logistics or a family member. She was surprised to see that she was teaching her supernatural class at first sight. But looking at the old lady's smiling image, she has a similar meaning to Zhu Kunjun, and it seems that I have underestimated her. Everything went smoothly afterwards, and Mrs. Mi was also easy to get along with, even kinder than Lin Fan's grandmother. Lin Fan forgot that how could the person chosen by Zhu Kunjun be a gentle little lamb? This is a big bad wolf in sheep's clothing. Now, she finally exposed her inner heart and let herself do something to herself, which is so cruel. Lin Fan complained in his heart, but he didn't forget to continue listening to Wu Yusen's popular science. Mrs. Mi is the same age as Zhu Kunjun, and they are also the same batch of powerful characters who have gone through that chaotic era and fought for their status with real swords and guns. No wonder I said that. The way she laughs, she looks like she is from the same wholesale as the director. It can't be the characteristic of their group of people, right? Lin Fan looked like he knew it. Are not all the people in the institute who laugh like this the same batch as the director? Wu Yusen paused with a smile. The director's group has suffered serious injuries. As far as I know, apart from the director, only teacher Mi is still alive. Huh. Lin Fan was stunned. She had been chatting in a teasing tone before, but now, she couldn't help but feel a little disrespectful. She knew the past and present of the Special Affairs Office. At the beginning, the conditions were poor and the situation was chaotic. In order to quell the crisis, Zhu Kunjun and his group of pioneers were not afraid of danger and risked their lives. In the end, only a few people survived. Some were injured, some were sick. After so many years, the number of people still alive can be counted on one hand. And the only two people who can still move freely outside are Zhu Kunjun and Mi Jiao. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 695, Destruction and Reconstruction. Isn't there a saying that goes, those who survive to the end are all big guys? Mi Jiao can be plump and white, standing in front of Lin Fan with a smile, which is a skill in itself. Wu Yusen also talked about a few glorious deeds of Mrs. Mi. If any of them were described in words, they would be easily blocked on the internet. In summary, the old lady can be described in 2 words, radical. I can't tell. I really can't tell. Lin Fan looked unbelievable. The old lady has been slow these days. I even suspected that she was old and couldn't keep up with the physical strength. Now you tell me that she is actually a radical? That's right, if it comes to passion, the director has to rank behind Teacher Me and respectfully call her sister. Wu Yusen bluntly talked about ZHU Kunjun's past. Is he so powerful? Lin Fan was stunned. Lin Fan still had some understanding of ZHU Kunjun, who was also a figure in H country. The only people who could make him bow his head and give in were the old man and deputy director Z. He dared to slam the table and call for the bench in front of the old man and did not take the leaders of other brother units seriously at all. Even Cui Yan could not get anything good from him. Such a great man would actually bow down to the old lady. It was surprising to think about it, but it seemed reasonable. ZHU Kunjun was not as cruel as the old lady. He always took good care of Lin Fan and was afraid of hurting him. Unlike the old lady, she said the most polite words and did the most cruel things. Do you know what makes Teacher Me admired the most? Wu Yusen knew what she was thinking by looking at her face. Knowing that she was resentful again, he continued to speak. What? Lin Fan responded casually. Her understanding and control of element are different from ordinary people. Apart from the 3 big bosses in our institute, I'm afraid that no one in this world can look back on her. Wu Yusen had heard about Mijao's power a long time ago, but she had retired a long time ago and had no contact with her. Unexpectedly, ZHU Kunjun invited her out again, and I'm afraid he paid a lot of price. Oh, is it really that powerful? Wu Yusen didn't exaggerate. If he said that, then Mrs. Me was really powerful. If you knew the elemental properties of Teacher Me, you would be shocked. Wu Yusen waited to see Lin Fan's expression. She is a water-based psychic. Isn't that scary? Lin Fan was really scared. Wait, didn't you say before that she was a radical? A combat-based psychic? Seeing Wu Yusen nodding again and again, Lin Fan was a little confused. I remember that water-based psychics are mostly logistics or healing, right? Water, the impression given to people is mostly gentle and is mostly used in purification and healing. Lin Fan has also seen colleagues from the Special Affairs Office on missions, and water-based psychics also have attack techniques. Water arrows, water curtains, water balls. How to say it, I don't know if this colleague's ability is limited or the inheritance of the technique has been interrupted. In short, these look like attacks, and in fact they are indeed the effects of attack moves. Well, that's it, nothing more than nothing. Compared with other psychics on the side, it is really far behind. Of course, Wu Yusen also knew this situation. You know the current situation of water-based superpowers. The superpowers themselves are limited. The worse they are, the worse they are. In the end, they unconsciously become logistics support systems. There is nothing we can do about it. But according to what you said, the old lady is so powerful, why didn't she come out to guide these water-based superpowers? Lin Fan asked curiously. Why not? Wu Yusen replied, in the early days, before Teacher Me retired, she was responsible for teaching superpower development. But later, life became better and better, and the peaceful days lasted too long, so the string loosened. Teacher Me wanted to use her almost self-abuse method to improve the superpowers of the later ones, but it became increasingly unfeasible. In peacetime, everyone cherishes themselves too much and can't let go, so naturally they can't break through. There were even rumors before that someone complained that Teacher Me abused students. Lin Fan was speechless. There are actually people who dare to do that? She actually wanted to tell ZHU Kunjun about it before. Guilty. People with special abilities are rare to begin with. After being recruited by the Special Affairs Office, they cannot be said to be worshipped. But the Special Affairs Office has always been gentle to its own people, which can be seen from the treatment of Lin Fan. These people with special abilities who don't even need a lighter to light a cigarette, even if they are a little timid in the early stage, they will develop a sense of arrogance that is different from ordinary people in the later stage. Who is not a big treasure. With enough ambition, they can't stand Mijao's overly strict and harsh teaching methods. Anyway, this matter is difficult to promote. You can see it by looking at the children nowadays. If they fall or get a scratch, they will be spoiled for a long time. It's really different from us back then. But the general environment is like this, and the institute is not completely immune. Over time, Teacher Me became disappointed and simply retired early to be her idle old lady. In that case, I think you deserve the decline in skills. Lin Fan muttered. Ahem. Wu Yusen coughed dryly. No personal attack. I have nothing to do with this. Yeah, I know. I'm not talking about you. Lin Fan held up his chin. Actually, think about it. Strict requirements are indeed good. Just like when the senior brother scolded me before. Do you remember? Why don't you remember? Wu Yusen raised his eyelids. He dragged people down like dead dogs every day at that time, and it seemed that it had been a year. At that time, I don't remember what belief I had. Maybe I didn't admit defeat, or maybe there was no way out. Anyway, I don't remember. Lin Fan blew a breath upwards, but it is undeniable that every time I practiced to exhaustion, the next day's physical reaction and the integration of the moves, the progress was beyond my own expectations. Maybe it was this obvious progress that made me grit my teeth and persist again and again. Later, when I fought against Grow, these trainings helped me a lot, so I'm very grateful to myself at that time. As Lin Fan spoke, he suddenly understood the meaning of what Mrs. Me did and no longer had any resentment in his heart. She is actually another Lezeng Yuan King, pushing Lin Fan to his limit in her own way. It is known that there is a sea of thunder in Lin Fan's body, which will not be harmed by such attacks, and it has the ability to repair itself. Under such a safe premise, it is just a little painful. In the eyes of the radical old lady, what is wrong? Wu Yusen saw that Lin Fan had figured it out, and he also smiled. This is probably the novel of no destruction, no construction, destruction and then construction. Teacher Me should have studied your report and knew that you had a resilient study life in the hands of the senior brother, so he did not hold back on you. Lin Fan knew that what he said made sense, but he still wanted to roll his eyes. The old lady electrocuted her skin and tender flesh without saying hello, so should she say thank you to him? Although in fact, she also knew that the old lady was doing it for her own good. But this method, Lin Fan TSK and shook his head. Why don't you try it yourself in the state of Xingqian? Will it be more comfortable with the lightning resistant Mecha shell? Thinking of Mecha, naturally think of the Mecha self-growth just mentioned a few days ago. Hey, she asked Wu Yusen, do you think that the self-growth of Mecha energy that we talked about before was a mistake? What do you mean? Wu Yusen didn't expect her to suddenly jump to this point, but he still cooperated and continued the conversation. Didn't we just say that there is no creation without destruction, and only after destruction can creation be established? Lin Fan saw Wu Yusen nod slightly and continued to explain his thoughts. So, is it possible that the increase of star energy is not the self-growth after evolution, but the destruction and creation of the Mecha state after continuous shooting until exhaustion? Chapter 696 Lin Fan admits his mistake. Wu Yusen thought about it for a while, and it seemed that this was not impossible. Xingqian was a biological armor, and it was one with Lin Fan. Lin Fan might be able to increase her qualities in all aspects under extreme pressure, so why couldn't the Mecha? Moreover, as her energy increased, she would change her form, increase her weapons, and evolve again and again. Wu Yusen hurriedly sent this new speculation to ZHU Kunjin, who was probably busy, and did not reply immediately. Your idea is quite interesting, but I guess there is no chance to verify it recently. Wu Yusen smiled. The alien visitors are coming soon, and Xingqian needs to store energy. It is not appropriate to make big moves at this time. Lin Fan also knew it and nodded. Well, I'll try again, when I have a chance. After sitting for a while, the two went to the medical department to find Wenji to report. After a round of examinations, no obvious problems were found. I don't know if her physical strength has been supplemented, so it is relatively sufficient. Lin Fan thought about it seriously. Her previous inability to move and weakness were actually the subsequent reactions of pain. After the electric shock, her body must have had a series of negative reactions, but the energy consumption did not seem to be as exaggerated as she showed. The reason why she was playing badly was, on the one hand, the feeling of being caught off guard, and on the other hand, it was also a kind of confrontation with Mrs. Me. Look, I can't move. What else can you do to me? Strictly speaking, this level of pain is not even as bad as the ruthless attack that Lezing Yuan King had on her after she recovered her body shape. As for the big meal, it was probably because she was greedy. Now that he knew what Mrs. Me was like, Lin Fan felt ashamed of his own arrogance. Was she floating? So now she was starting to be hypocritical about this little bit of suffering. Lin Fan was originally a relatively dull person, and she was prone to self-reflection when encountering things. Compared with finding faults in others, she was more accustomed to finding faults in herself. Otherwise, she would not have been nagged into depression by Lin's mother and almost died. Now, although she has Jin Sichin's guidance and has learned a lot of ways to maintain a healthy mentality, her habitual thinking over the years still jumps out from time to time to interfere. It can't be said that this behavior is bad, but it depends on the person. If she met someone like Wu Yusen and Zhu Kunjin who knew the rules, this problem would not be a big deal. I reflect on myself 3 times a day, which is actually quite good. But if you meet someone like Lin Ma, you will be in big trouble. In short, Lin Fan reflected on himself and also tried to kill his desire for food. This desire to eat became particularly strong after fasting. But in fact, she has no sense of taste, and because food will be energized after entering the mouth, there is no obvious sense of fullness. She even complained that her mouth would get tired after eating for a long time. But despite all these, after being fasted for a few days, she wanted to eat and drink more and more. It happened that this idea met a suitable opportunity and was used blatantly by her, disobeying orders, letting herself go, and slandering teachers. Looking back, she was too willful. Zhu Kunjin looked at Lin Fan standing in the office and admitting his mistakes to him in a serious manner and felt funny in his heart. Over the years, the only silly girl who came to him to admit her mistakes and had a bad attitude of self-reflection for such a small matter was Lin Fan. Zhu Kunjin didn't show it on the surface. He listened carefully and comforted her skillfully, which finally made her smile. As for fasting, in fact, the goal has been achieved in the past few days. Zhu Kunjin called people to the sofa and brewed his kung fu tea again. Before today, the fasting plan had been carried out for 4 days. During these 4 days, Lin Fan only drank water and didn't eat anything, and he was still energetic. In fact, it basically shows that the self-circulation has been established. Lin Fan was afraid that the task would be delayed. Now that it was said that there was no delay, she breathed a sigh of relief. Of course, if conditions permit, it would be better to review it for a while later. Zhu Kunjin smiled, but if you want to eat something good occasionally, it's not impossible. What's the taste of life without delicious food? Zhu Kunjin knew that Lin Fan had no sense of taste and no sense of fullness. Because of this, he didn't want to deprive Lin Fan of the right to eat. He looked at Lin Fan's cheerful smile. Just allowing her to eat and drink freely could make her so happy. It was so simple that it made people happy too. Let's continue for another week. When the self-circulation is finally confirmed, you can eat whatever you want and make up for what you have saved recently. That's not necessary. Lin Fan smiled, took the small teacup, put it to his mouth, and suddenly his expression changed. If the Mecha can be self-circulating, will I get fat if I eat so much later? Zhu Kunjin was stunned. This girl changed the topic too quickly. Lin Fan's expression changed several times, and it seemed that she could foresee that she would become a fat woman again. It shouldn't be. Zhu Kunjin also followed her topic and said, the consumption of Mecha is still very high. Even if the self-circulation is established, the extra energy is also considered as reserve energy. I won't get fat. Having said that, Zhu Kunjin also saw the image of Xingqian Plus in his mind. I want to see it a little bit. What to do? Lin Fan didn't have the nerve to discuss the issue of fatness with Zhu Kunjin in his office. Keep this in mind and quickly change the topic. Zhu Kunjin seemed to be used to her jumping around and quickly took over. After a few words, he talked about Mi Jiao, my elder sister. Zhu Kunjin considered his words. She is a good person, but a little fierce. This fierce refers to the means. Mi Jiao has always had a smiling face since she was young, and she is particularly good at deceiving people. Zhu Kunjin learned from her and became the smiling tiger he is today. It is not an exaggeration to say that Mi Jiao is the leader of his life. So no matter in terms of strength or other aspects, ZHU Kunjin respects and admires Mijiro. Yeah. Lin Fan put down the teacup, put his hands on his knees and nodded obediently. I know that the teacher is doing this for my own good. It's not my fault. ZHU Kunjin showed a teachable look and nodded with a smile. Actually, you are quite similar. You are also quite fierce. Lin Fan couldn't help looking at him in surprise. How is she fierce? ZHU Kunjin smiled and didn't explain. I've thought about it, and I think that only by finding someone more fierce than you can you inspire your true nature. This old sister is undoubtedly the best candidate. Because of Xingqian's great contribution, people who know Lin Fan will more or less put a filter on her and will unconsciously give her convenience and save face in their actions. That's Xingqian, the savior of the world. Without her, I might have been buried in the ground. How could I say bad things to her? Even Cui Yan, who has such a cold and hard personality, can't help but put on a filter. ZHU Kunjin himself is no exception. He thinks Lin Fan is good in every way, just like his own son. Not to mention other people with superpowers in the institute. After counting, there are not many people who can turn their face to Lin Fan. Mijiro's character of not giving face to others, coupled with her solid ability to use superpowers, naturally became the first choice. Chapter 697, Supernatural Power Control. A huge water ball was suspended in front of him. The kind smile of Mrs. Mi became weird and strange after being deformed and magnified by the water ball. Lin Fan avoided her face and accidentally saw a slight flow track on the edge of the water ball. Looking closely, the water on the outer layer of the water ball was surging, but the traces were too slight and almost invisible. If it weren't for Lin Fan's good eyesight and being close, it would be difficult to detect. I thought it was a compressed and fixed water ball. Thinking back to the process of the formation of this water ball, Lin Fan was still a little caught off guard. The moment the old lady came in, she was still hesitating whether to apologize directly or pretend that nothing had happened and behave well in the future. After all, Mijiro was not as familiar as ZHU Kunjin and others, and she could say anything. In addition, her temper before was relatively obscure, so it was not considered an offense. In the end, she decided to pretend that nothing had happened, say hello, and take classes seriously in the future. As a result, at the moment, when the old lady closed the door, Lin Fan keenly felt that something was different in the air. She narrowed her eyes alertly and stood still. Soon, she could clearly feel the dampness in her breath, as if an invisible rain was falling in the air. The room was foggy. Oh my. Zuping suddenly felt a little shivering and leaned closer to Wu Yusen. This obvious abnormality, without thinking, knew that Mijiro was causing trouble. Mijiro looked like a kind and amiable old lady, and she was also gentle in class on weekdays, but Zuping, who had been familiar with the files, knew that this old lady was a ruthless character. As soon as she entered the room, she used her supernatural power without saying a word. Was she trying to teach Lin Fan a lesson? Although he was a little afraid that his small body would be affected, thinking about Lin Fan being knocked down, he was a little secretly excited in his heart. What was going on? Zuping took small steps and turned his head quietly to see Mijiro, but the fog became thicker and thicker, and he could not see anything. Turning his head again, Wu Yusen, who had been standing next to him, was only a hazy outline. He could not see anything clearly, even if he took another step to get close to her. Zuping wanted to say something, but when he opened his mouth, he seemed to drink a mouthful of spray and quickly closed his mouth again. This is a trap set for Lin Fan. Don't let him get into it. Wu Yusen watched Lin Fan disappear in the white fog, and all the images and sounds disappeared, as if he suddenly entered a strange place in some special mission. He lowered his eyelids. His eyelashes were wet by the mist, and his face seemed to have been washed. Wu Yusen had never seen Mijiro's superpowers, but the current situation was completely different from the water-based superpowers he had come into contact with. Is this how superpowers are used? Isn't it crackling, all kinds of cool and straightforward? Wu Yusen complained in his heart, but said nothing. He believed that Mijiro knew her limits and would not really hurt Lin Fan. Before Lin Fan could figure out what was going on, he fell into a fog. Such a thick fog, if it was outside, the weather forecast would have to issue an orange warning. But here, it only took a few seconds from nothing to something. Neither Wu Yusen nor Zuping warned him. Lin Fan was stunned for 2 seconds and soon guessed that it was the trick of Mrs. Me. But why? A show of strength? It shouldn't be. They are of different generations. Is it to show off one's skills? Before he could figure it out, the white mist suddenly dissipated and the scenery in front of him gradually became clear again. The water vapor that was invisible to the naked eye gradually became clear, and drops of water condensed into stable water droplets, hanging in the air, like frozen rain. In the whole room, except for a thin layer of space around the 4 people's bodies, the rest was filled with dense water droplets. Lin Fan's good eyesight was about to suffer from intensive phobia when encountering this situation. She suspected that she had crossed her eyes, and quickly shifted her sight to find Mrs. Me. As soon as her sight touched the old lady, she saw that her curved thin lips seemed to curl up again. All the water droplets suddenly moved, and Lin Fan could feel the weak wind driven by the movement of the small water droplets. She tried to control her body not to move around and stay calm. In a blink of an eye, all the water drops gathered into a huge water ball in front of her eyes, hanging in the air. All this happened in an instant. The scene changed several times, and the 3 people watching, whether it was Lin Fan, the experienced Wu Yusen, and Zuping, stood there like fools. This terrible control. The 3 of them sighed in their hearts at the same time, and their eyes intentionally avoided, but involuntarily turned to Mijao. Lin Fan knew that Mijao was powerful, but no matter what others said, it was not as shocking as seeing it with her own eyes. She licked her lips, and the original wet touch was no longer there, but dry. She was about to say something. The surface of the water ball suddenly splashed with water, as if there were fish jumping in joy. After the water droplets jumped out, they were not affected by gravity, but drew a short arc, and returned to the water ball, like a lively and playful little baby. Lin Fan tilted his head to avoid the water ball, glanced at the old lady who was still smiling behind him, and couldn't help but feel itchy, stretched out a finger, and slowly touched the water ball with his fingertips. The fingers sank into the cold water, which seemed to be no different from dipping into ordinary water. After 2 tugs, a small vortex even formed on the surface of the ball. 3 people in the distance watched motionlessly. Lin Fan felt a little embarrassed to play like this, so she pulled her hand away. As her hand was withdrawn, a few drops of water seemed to lose control, flying in the direction of her hand, and then dripping onto the ground. Lin Fan's heart tightened, and she felt guilty for destroying the water ball, so she quickly bent down, and reached out to catch it. Her reaction speed was very fast, but the water drop froze, just as it was about to touch her palm, and then flew back to the big water ball above at a long distance. I forgot, the old lady was still in control. Lin Fan, who didn't catch anything, was a little embarrassed. She blinked, rubbed her fingers and stood up, trying to pretend that nothing had happened. As soon as she stood up, a stream of water shot out from the water ball in front of her. Lin Fan subconsciously took a step back. The sharp arrow-like shape twisted in the air and turned into a soft texture like silk. It went up around Lin Fan's arm, and then from her neck, in front of her eyes, it spun around her body, like a living silk ribbon. Lin Fan wanted to catch it, but when she moved, the silk followed her, and kept circling around her, but she couldn't touch it. Amazing. Zuping whispered to Wu Yusen, and the light in his eyes couldn't be hidden. The teacher's control of supernatural powers is faster than Lin Fan. It's amazing. The consciousness is faster than the action. Wu Yusen agreed in a low voice. But only Teacher Me can do this. Lin Fan was still playing, and she didn't believe that she couldn't catch this thing with her speed. As a result, Mijao didn't give her too much time. After several failures, the soft silk suddenly broke and retreated to both sides. After leaving Lin Fan's body, it immediately became stiff, like 2 sharp spikes, and then suddenly exploded, like a puffy thorn ball. The spiked shape was different from the previous ones. The atmosphere suddenly changed, as if it had entered an attacking form. Lin Fan subconsciously did not chase after it, and stood still. The next moment, the thorn ball shattered, and the space of the barrier, where Lin Fan stood, was filled with broken glass-like fragments. Soon, 1 turned into 2, 2 turned into 4, and dense, hair-like needles were everywhere. Oh my god. Zuping, who was standing outside the field, wanted to bite his fingers. Fortunately, we don't have to face it. This kind of scene would make anyone feel stressed. Just looking at it is terrifying. If the countless needles were to pierce a person, it would probably pierce a person into a sieve. Finally, I know how scary old lady Me is. Zuping didn't even dare to glance at her. Lin Fan swallowed his saliva. This is different from the previous appearance, covered with water droplets. Before, it just felt dense, but now it is full of killing weapons, as if the needles would pierce her body as soon as she moved. I don't know if she will die, but it will definitely hurt. In the tense atmosphere, Mijao smiled softly, as if she had issued some kind of order, and the needles instantly pierced into the ground. Fine crackling sounds hit Lin Fan's eardrums and soon disappeared. She looked down and saw that the special ground was full of tiny holes. She squatted down and touched it. The holes were round and not prickly, but they could be crushed with a little force. This is the floor of the special office. The special board, that is difficult to destroy by ordinary superpowers, was easily destroyed by these hair-like water needles. And those dense and deadly water needles just now were nowhere to be found. Lin Fan looked up at Mijao, who was still smiling in the distance. The old lady was covering her mouth and laughing. Oh, this repair fee can't be put on my head. I have a very vivid picture of this scene, but my ability is limited, so I can only write it like this. I don't know if you feel that way. This is uncultured. When others see something good, they can quote classics, various idioms, and describe it in hundreds of words. I can only say, damn, it looks good. Hahaha, at least I have written it. I'll take it one step at a time. I hope it will get better and better. Chapter 698 Zuping Xiangzu. Water, as a necessity in daily life, is most commonly used for cleaning and drinking. People's fear of water is mostly in specific scenarios, such as falling into rivers, lakes and seas, and suffocating to death after being swept away by raging floods. Although in Water and Fire are merciless, water and fire are mentioned together, which shows the severity of water disasters. But in normal times, people's most direct understanding of water is still gentle. In the Special Affairs Office, the abilities of most water-based superpowers are also developing in the direction of purification and healing. Even though Wu Yusen and the others are knowledgeable and have seen attack superpowers like water arrows, the effect of that kind of tepidity is not much better than a direct stab, and it is not at the same level as the swift and ever-changing form just now. These waters come and go without a trace. If it weren't for the evidence left on the floor that was covered with slag, Lin Fan even thought that everything just now was a bizarre dream in her own head. In just a few minutes, Mijao showed her strength. Before seeing it, who could have imagined that in the Dharma-ending age, when the development of supernatural powers was already so difficult, there were still people who could control supernatural powers to the tiniest degree, who wouldn't be yearning for it after seeing it. The eagerness in their hearts could not be suppressed, and they wished they could also perform it. But among the three of them, one couldn't, and one couldn't. In the end, they could only stare at Mijao with fiery eyes. Want to learn? Mijao seemed to be tired of standing, so she walked to a chair beside and sat down, not caring about the stares of the three people. I want to. Lin Fan blurted out and walked out. With every step she took, the ground full of pores cracked into pieces as she fell, and the spider web-like cracks seemed to break in her heart, breaking all the previous arrogance. She walked in front of Mijao, knelt on one knee, looked at the old lady devoutly, and asked sincerely from the bottom of her heart, "Teacher, I want to learn. Please teach me." Mijao looked into Lin Fan's eyes steadily. She was smiling, but Lin Fan felt a little weak when she looked at him, and subconsciously wanted to avoid her direct gaze. No, this must be a test for her, and she can't shrink back. Lin Fan swallowed his saliva, clenched his teeth to prevent himself from dodging left and right, and looked back at Mijao with wide eyes, as if they were two black glass beads. I don't know if it was because her expression was too funny, but Mijao's mouth corners curled up again, and her thin red lips slightly opened. Then you have to keep your skin tight. Lin Fan finally breathed a sigh of relief after hearing this, and sat on his heels, smiling and saying yes. Looking at the scene of the loving mother and filial daughter in front of him, Zuping arched beside Wu Yusen, envious and jealous. He wanted to bite a small handkerchief in his mouth and cry. His skin was so tight, but he hadn't entered yet. Wu Yusen smiled lightly, feeling happy for Lin Fan and sorry for himself. He had just sensed the existence of spiritual energy and had only one foot in the door of learning supernatural powers. How to absorb the supernatural power into the body and use it for oneself. In fact, Mijao had talked about it in the previous theory class. But Wu Yusen was not so talented that he could understand it once and put it into practice immediately. For someone like him who has some talent but no talent, it will take a long time to start practicing to really absorb the energy into the body. Naturally, he could not keep up with the progress of Lin Fan's small class. He could only listen and remember first, and then slowly practice it when he had the opportunity in the future. However, regrets are regrets. Wu Yusen glanced at Zuping, who looked better, from the corner of his eyes. Although he couldn't practice it now, at least he was on the way. This man is really not good enough. Zuping's heart was also in a state of ice and fire. He was in pain that he had no understanding of himself. He studied harder than anyone else, but it was useless. But the scene just now added fuel to his enthusiasm that was about to fade and burnt him up. Isn't it just learning? There is no end to learning. As long as you don't die from learning, you can study to death. What if one day you can succeed? Zuping showed the spirit of a gambler, determined to fight to the death on this road. Because the floor was damaged, Wu Yusen submitted a room maintenance report and applied for a new trial room. But special trial rooms that can adapt to high-intensity superpowers like Lin Fan are not common, and it is definitely impossible to continue on that day. When he finished his work and looked up, Zuping was already next to Lin Fan, kneeling in front of Mijao's chair, and started a conversation. "Teacher Me, the last superpower you just mentioned," Zuping wrote with his hands and feet dancing, "is that silk-like water strip that breaks on both sides and explodes with a pop. Is it still a water superpower after that? What do you think?" Mijao was still smiling. Whether the room can be used or not did not affect her teaching progress at all. I think that form and aggressiveness are more like ice. Can you control the water to turn into ice?" Zuping's eyes lit up, and seeing Mijao's unchanged smile, he moved forward. Just the last piece. The fragments that exploded, and the last few thin needles? Wu Yusen saw that they were in a good mood, so he also walked over. Go to the other side of Lin Fan, and imitate her to sit cross-legged. Old Lady Mi sat on a chair, and the three of them sat on the floor in front of her. The atmosphere was relaxed and happy. With a few more peanuts and melon seeds, it could be considered a tea party. Mijao shook her head with a smile when she heard Zuping's question. "Water can turn into ice. Why don't you teach me?" Zuping's excitement stopped abruptly. It seems that it's not. The barriers between the various superpowers are very clear. Perhaps because of the end of the law era, there is not enough spiritual power to support it, and the elemental abilities discovered so far are all single. In other words, only single system superpowers can be developed and discovered. Now that the world tree barrier is opened, and the spiritual power has increased significantly, it is still unknown whether there will be dual system or multi-system superpowers in the future. But for now, elemental superpowers cannot cross the barriers and control other elemental superpowers. Simply put, no matter how powerful Mijao's water superpowers are, she can't use ice spells. Even if the basics of elemental superpowers are the same, and the operation methods of each system are somewhat similar, they are different. In the face of the elemental barrier and the lack of spiritual power, the idea of mastering everything is just nonsense. Zuping actually knew this, but isn't spiritual power abundant now? A large number of ordinary people who were originally unable to sense spiritual power can now show their talents. It seems that it is not impossible for a big shot to have a superpower and cross a boundary. After all, Lin Fan, who knows nothing about mechas, came to learn superpower control. In the previous theoretical class, Mijao had already said that elemental superpowers are more common in water, fire, gold, wood, and earth. Ice, thunder, and wind are all variant superpowers, which are rare to see. In the past, spiritual power was already scarce, and this kind of rare existence can basically be ignored. The following series of explanations are all centered around the 5 element, occasionally jumping to Lin Fan's thunder system. The ice system superpower was mentioned at the beginning, but it was never mentioned again. Are there any ice superpowers in the institute? Lin Fan asked Wu Yusen in a low voice. There was an ice department in our generation, but it has been more than 10 years. Now there is a vacancy for the ice department in the institute. Mijao interrupted after hearing this. She glanced at Lin Fan first, then looked back at Zuping meaningfully, but when he was alive, I could only suppress and beat him. Zuping leaned back. He felt as if he had said something wrong. Sure enough, Mijao leaned in his direction. What makes you think the ice department must be stronger than the water department? Mijao's smiling face obviously did not change, but Zuping just felt that the sense of oppression became stronger. Praising the ice department in front of the big boss of the water department, isn't that courting death? Zuping wished he could go back half a minute and slap himself. But now, he can only smile stiffly. No, I didn't. I wasn't. I was wrong. As he spoke, he couldn't laugh anymore, and his mouth was grinning, as if he was about to cry. The novel misled me. Woo woo woo. Chapter 699. There is no superiority or inferiority in superpowers. Ice is another form of water. In the earlier immortal cultivation literature, ice and thunder were all peerless spiritual roots. Whenever they appeared, their properties were extraordinary. How could ordinary water spiritual roots compare? Moreover, compared to soft water, the cold and hard properties of ice would indeed appear to be more aggressive. Lin Fan could guess most of Zuping's reasons, but she couldn't be stupid enough to speak out at this time. This was just like praising 800 bits in front of Zhu Kunjin. It was purely out of boredom and asking for trouble. Fortunately, Mijao didn't care much about the junior. After scaring him, she leaned back in her chair comfortably. You've only heard about me these days. Mijao took out a thermos cup from the handbag at her feet, unscrewed the lid, and slowly took a sip. Come on, let me hear how much you have understood. What exactly do you understand about superpowers or element? Tell me, don't be afraid of being wrong. Lin Fan, you go first. Seeing that Mijao didn't hit Zuping, Lin Fan felt that, although the big brother's methods were radical, his temper seemed to be really good. After thinking about it, she said it boldly. She felt that it was not reasonable to classify spiritual roots or supernatural powers without variable classification. For example, in the general concept, fire is the most offensive. But can a low-level skill like the small fireball that has just been introduced be brought to a big shot like Mijao and say fire is stronger than water? Obviously not. In addition, people always joke about the wood element in private, saying that it is a landscape engineer, but Lin Fan has also seen those vines strangled, and they are not much worse than the fire element's supernatural power. The level of skills, proficiency, and personal talent are closely related to the final results. It cannot be simply said that water must be weaker than ice, or that water supernatural powers are more suitable for treatment. It can only be said that most of the masters of water supernatural powers will eventually present weaker attack skills than other supernatural powers. It has nothing to do with the attributes of supernatural powers, but it is still a human problem. A water element big shot like Mijao, with the awareness, speed, and unique controllability that she just casually showed, fighting alone, how many people can get away with her? The principle of the mutual generation and mutual restraint of the 5 element destined everyone to be the same, but in the later development, some elemental abilities had some problems, resulting in the emergence of these solidified concepts and passive strengths and weaknesses. Well, it's good on the whole. Mijao nodded with satisfaction. Skills of the same level will also have differences in proficiency, talent and understanding, not to mention the difference in levels. It's just like, when I was in school, there was always a debate between liberal arts and science. What do you think? Is liberal arts more powerful, or science more powerful? I know. Zuping raised his hand to answer, wanting to make up for the mistake just now. Whether it is powerful or not should be placed in the right occasion, and judged according to different environments. There is only relative power, not absolute power. Not bad. Mijao praised with a smile, and Zuping immediately smiled like a child. Students in the same class also have different grades, which is an individual difference. Wu Yusen also joined the discussion. Although most people think that science students have better logical thinking, the thinking logic of science losers may not be comparable to that of average liberal arts students, let alone academic masters. Yes, that's the reason. Since you all understand, don't say funny things next time. Mijao handed the empty cup to Zooping, and the young man happily ran to the side to fill water for the old lady. These simple truths are actually clear to the supernatural people, but it is easy for those who have not entered the industry to misunderstand them. If you enter the supernatural world with wrong concepts, it is easy to take many detours and preconceived ideas, or even go to the wrong path, resulting in completely unnecessary results. Not to mention destroying the unity of the supernatural people in the institute. Affecting your own realm is the most troublesome. Of course, abilities of the same level are not completely equal. As a variation of the water system, the ice system requires stronger abilities than the water system, and relatively speaking, it is indeed more powerful. Mijao took the teacup handed over by Zooping, blew on it twice, and placed it on her knees. But the consumption is also greater than casting skills of the same level. So in terms of balance, it cannot be considered an absolute advantage. Consuming the same amount of ability, while others can easily cast water balls and fireballs, the ice system can only freeze a small ice lump. When it can condense into an ice ball of the same size, the power is indeed greater than the same water ball or even fireball, but the consumption is also several times that of others, and other ability users have long been able to cast more powerful abilities. In this case, how can we unilaterally single out the damage value when using one's own mana bar as consumption to create a skill with greater damage, but the durability is far less than that of others? When fighting in a group, ice spells are strong, but they always run out of mana the fastest. So these really can't be compared separately. The wind system is even rarer than the ice system. Because it is too rare, the inheritance is interrupted, and the skill tree cannot be connected. As for the power, let's not talk about it. Mijao recalled. Later, Zyro ZHU went to ask Mr. Kine to help fill in some, so that the wind system would not be cut off. Zyro ZHU is ZHU Kunjin. Mijao called him Zyro ZHU. All of our wind systems? Lin Fan found that he knew too little about the personnel of the Special Affairs Office, and he didn't know anything about them. There is one. This time Wu Yusen took over, but his ability is average, not outstanding. Lin Fan said originally, there were few people with special abilities, and the inheritance was cut off again. Just thinking about it, you can tell that the situation is not good. I asked Mr. Kine to fill in the skill tree just for this kid. Mijao said a little unhappy here, and the corners of her mouth turned down. But this guy is not motivated. His skills can't be improved, and he hasn't mastered new skills until now. It is very troublesome for Mr. Kine to fill in the skill tree personally, which is much more troublesome than asking Lezing Yuan King to teach Lin Fan. The Special Affairs Office has been paving the way for others with great care, but in the end, they just can't catch up. Isn't it infuriating? But Mijao also knows that this matter can't be completely blamed on the child. Talent is often a constraint that limits one's own development. In addition, in peacetime, there is no sense of oppression. The unique honor in the world is enough to make people proud. I heard that the guy has been in seclusion recently. Zooping interrupted. Maybe he was stimulated by the previous Gross incident, or he felt a sense of crisis. Hey, anyway, it's a good thing. Maybe he will be upgraded when he comes out again. It's better. Mijao snorted twice and returned to her smiling state at the beginning. The most special one is the thunder system. It has a suppressive effect on almost all abilities of the same level, and some can suppress them across levels. It can be said that it is invincible in the same system. Zooping sighed and looked at Lin Fan with some resentment. If it weren't for the big defect that it is easy to kill yourself when upgrading, there would really be nothing wrong. But this defect is not a problem for Lin Fan at all. She has a sea of thunder in her body, which can absorb billions of electricity for her own use. Why didn't Zooping have such a good cheat? Mijao smiled. Good fortune and bad fortune go hand in hand. The thunder system is a game between life and death. If you win, you are a superpower, and if you lose, you die. So the thunder system is even rarer, and their natural enemy is their own superpowers. There are not many Thunder systems in history, and in the end, because of their superpower advantages, most of them ran away to become punishment officers. It's not that there are no morally corrupt people, but they are few. Basically, they have reached the bottleneck of upgrading, and have difficulty making progress, or they have gone astray in the face of the upgrade crisis. And such people, even if they avoid the upper level superpowers, they can't avoid their own demons, and will die from the lightning of the superpower upgrade. In this way, there is an unwritten saying. The Thunder system who can persist in the thunder is either a person with super character or a tough mind. So many times, everyone has a tacit understanding about the appearance of Thunder system superpowers. In other words, to a certain extent, this person has been recognized by God. After all kinds of superpowers have their pros and cons, and the control of one's own superpowers is a basis of power. Mecha took over, as you have just seen. The water system, which is considered the weakest by the world, can also show extraordinary effects, and the key lies in the word control. I think it is like this. Since the 5 elements are mutually reinforcing and restraining, one ring suppresses another, and there is no absolute strength. All extraordinary attributes have suppression. The Thunder system is the strongest, but it will kill itself. Hahaha, never. Everything must have a limit. There are rules in heaven, right? Lin Fan is a special case. She is not a superpower. She survived the lightning strike by accident. With the energy of the world tree, she will not be killed by lightning. But even in the Mecha state, she will be hurt by other things, and she is not invincible. Let alone her fragile body. The only thing is lightning resistance. Under normal circumstances, it is not as strong as Xingqian's physical resistance. After all, there are not so many thunders to strike her in daily life. The control of lightning is just contact, and then discharge, like an electric baton. Looking at it this way, it doesn't seem to be anything particularly amazing. Chapter 700 Star Territory XT03. Mecha later said a lot more. She broke down her previous experiences and feelings, and told them in detail. She also answered several people's questions. Lin Fan is a person who can easily empathize. In Mecha's persuasive narration, she can easily put herself in the situation, follow her narration, and try to figure out the state of old lady me at that time. Macro control masters like Mecha talk about valuable experience. The results of her own decades of exploration are laid out in front of the 3 people. Anyone who is not a fool will try to absorb it like a sponge. But it is useless to just understand it. You have to practice it. Among the 3, only Lin Fan has the ability to try. She is eager to try, and plans to arrange a new room the next day, and start working hard. That night, in her dream, she stood in a spider-webbed electric net, and performed against an unknown enemy. She was so coquettish, that she laughed herself awake. As a result, before the high-spirited beginning could be implemented, it was stopped by Zhu Kunjun. Lin Fan. Zhu Kunjun's voice on the phone was calm, but the words were frightening. He said, Star Domain XT03 has entered the satellite observation position. Star Domain XT03 is the appearance visitor in the sky that is approaching Langsing. Someone in the alliance originally proposed to use Gro's prefix to number the following, but it was rejected on the grounds of being unlucky. It is unlucky. Gro narrowly won that battle. To this day, Lin Fan doesn't want to recall the situation at that time. If this happens again, although the barrier is blocked, who can still do it? So after arguing for a few days, they finally decided on the current name. Star Domain refers to the origin of these things. They also decided on the prefix of Langsing's future spacecraft, called Lanmeng, which is the abbreviation of Langsing United Alliance. In the future, all interstellar spacecraft produced by Langsing will be prefixed with these 2 words. X stands for unknown, T stands for the spacecraft model, and Large Integrated Spacecraft 03 is the serial number of the sequence. The same is arranged with 02. That is the unidentified spacecraft that Lin Fan found next to the moon when Gro was dragged into the black hole. It's just that the model of that spaceship is not T, but S, which stands for small and medium-sized spaceships. There is also a Starfield 20th-01 in front. Of course, it is not the unlucky Gro, but the code name of Nua's ship. The X at the end stands for infinity, because after all, no one has ever seen the legendary ship of the god of creation. But it doesn't stop everyone from giving their beautiful imaginations to it. In the past few months, several G countries that still have spare power have launched more than 10 satellites into the sky one after another. They are mainly for communication and meteorology. Most of them are from H country and P country. There are still some scientific research satellites in the space agency that have not dared to be launched. Isn't 03 coming? No one knows its purpose. They are afraid that it will be scrapped sooner or later. A satellite is not cheap, and who doesn't need money now? The old P space station was locked together in the past, so it could not be withdrawn in time, and the loss was heavy. Although it has been used for many years and is old. But it costs a lot to build another space station with the same function. Old P is also short of money now. It is impossible to print money at full capacity in this situation. Besides, it is not entirely about money. It is mainly about the lack of supplies. The Xianting space station was withdrawn in time, and the loss was expected. The aviators who came down have not stopped training, and they are ready to go to the starry sky again at any time after the 03 wave is over. In short, these few months of effort are enough for some satellites to run far enough. The one who took the photo of 03 was a small observation satellite, which was specially heading in that direction to capture images. At this point, the star domain XT03 finally revealed its true face to everyone on Langsing. This is a disc-shaped, or flying saucer-shaped spacecraft. It is slightly narrow in front and wider in the back. The overall shape is elliptical, with rounded corners, and no obvious edges and corners. It is completely different from the style of Grow ship. The news from Jin Sichin said that the ugly woman concluded that this is not Grow ship. ZHU Kunjin sat in front of the computer and said to Lin Fan, who was standing beside him, "This is a good thing." Lin Fan chuckled. "If Grow wants to go away, go away. It's better not to come here forever. It's a good thing, but it's not all good yet." ZHU Kunjin moved his boss chair to the side to make some space for Lin Fan. He rested his arms on the armrests and smiled with his hands crossed. Lin Fan thought about it for a moment and understood. You can't let go of the other party's intentions if you are not sure about them, right? That's for sure. ZHU Kunjin nodded. Jero Zerg is just one of the thousands of species in the galaxy. Who knows what they are this time? You don't feel good. Although ZHU Kunjin was smiling, Lin Fan heard that he didn't seem optimistic. To be frustrating, who would fly a spaceship all the way to another planet for no reason? ZHU Kunjin stretched out his hand to scratch the door and smiled helplessly. The one we saw has been running for 3 months, let alone those we didn't see. It can't be that it came straight to us for tourism. Haha. Lin Fan snorted coldly. Uninvited guests seem to have bad intentions. Yes, but it has nothing to do with you for the time being. ZHU Kunjin put on his unchanging smile again and continued to look at Lin Fan with his arms crossed. Don't be busy with other things recently. Eat and play. I'll find you when we are ready to make formal contact. This sounded as if she was going to die. Lin Fan smacked her lips, but didn't refute. If a group of troublemakers really came from 03, she could fight and die. So these few days, she was not allowed to attend classes, and the fasting experiment was ignored. Just let her take care of it, and let her eat more, in case she wants to take part in the conflict at any time. Okay. Lin Fan thought the truth, and didn't say much. Then I can talk to Teacher Me, right? No physical contact, just chatting. Isn't it because they don't let her go to class, because they are afraid that she might hurt herself by controlling lightning? Even if she doesn't get hurt, controlling lightning will consume energy. Who knows when something might happen. Although ZHU Kunjin let her play, Xingchen has actually entered a 24-hour combat readiness state. Oh, it's only been a short time, and your attitude has changed so quickly. ZHU Kunjin teased. The day before yesterday, she was still being awkward and lazy, not wanting to be obedient and study hard. Although she admitted her fault later, she suddenly became so close. Hey, you don't know. Lin Fan recounted what Mi Jiao showed off yesterday. Strength, that is the ability that really convinces people. Although he knew Mi Jiao was powerful before, it was not as shocking as seeing it with his own eyes. Lin Fan didn't react at the time. Afterwards, she thought that it was not an exaggeration to kneel down to old lady me. What virtue did she have to let such a capable old lady teach her and tease her to learn? And she was lazy and arrogant? Give yourself 2 big fights. Haha, I told you that you won't suffer, right? Zhu Kunjin thought to himself, this old sister's method is really direct. Without a word of nonsense, she got it done directly. That is, can you give me a hard time? Lin Fan flattered her and diligently picked up the teacup on the table and handed it forward respectfully. Zhu Kunjin took the water cup with some surprise, looked at Lin Fan who was smiling like John Woo, and sighed helplessly. You. Lin Fan blinked his big eyes and looked at Zhu Kunjin in confusion, as if asking, what's wrong with me? Zhu Kunjin lowered his eyes and smiled and took a sip of herbal tea, frowned and waved his hand in disdain. Go, don't delay me here, go and play your own game. Lin Fan smiled and agreed, trotting out, and did not forget to gently close the door of the office. Zhu Kunjin looked in the direction of the door and seemed to hear Lin Fan's brisk footsteps. It's really getting different. This is the end of teaching supernatural powers, and I won't talk about it in detail later. I'm sure you've read a lot of immortal cultivation stories, so you all know what they are. This one is mainly about mechas, so I won't describe in detail how Lin Fan trained to control lightning. Anyway, I've described Mijiao's abilities, so you all have a concept, which is an expectation of Lin Fan's lightning control. It's not impossible to write about it, but it's unnecessary to add tens of thousands of words and drag the plot here. Let's stick to the plot, and I'll just focus on this long section. I may write a spin-off in the future to write about the funny things in the middle, but I won't go into detail in the main storyline. Is this daily routine too bland? Don't worry, someone is coming from the sky again. What's going on here? Can you guess? I have to finish this section quickly, and then I'll go into space after a transition. Well, it's one step closer to the end. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.